Happy holidays to you, and welcome to this special edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. I'm John Eagleman. Appreciate you looking in on this one. This is a sort of best of edition to celebrate the episodes of 2025. Now, I say sort of because I couldn't fit parts of every podcast in here, or this would be a 4-hour long podcast, and nobody wants that. If you're new here, this is a glimpse into what it is that we do. In fact, if you want to check out the earliest days, we have a best of from 2024 from last year, but it's only available wherever you listen to podcasts as we had not added video just yet. And speaking of that, our first 4 episodes from this year are audio only. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll just see a thumbnail attached to those clips. We kick the episode off with Juuuuuust executive chef Donovan Johnson. He worked in the Fayetteville restaurant scene for a long time, and for those that don't know, restaurant workers can get pretty deep into the party life, and that's what happened to Chef Donovan. So much so that he succumbed to addiction, and he has a remarkable story about his recovery.
So I was working at Penguin for a good while.
Yeah.
I'd say this is about like 6 years I'm there.
Okay.
And then
yeah, it is a good while.
It is a good while. And so Fayetteville, at least at the time, I don't know anymore, pretty big party scene.
Yeah, of course.
And so
It just this week with everyone moving back to the university, it's party scene again.
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
It is chaotic.
Right.
And then so being pretty big party scene, also working in the restaurant industry, there's a lot of partying.
Sure.
A lot of late nights. Mm-hmm. And then throughout my whole entire time there, I did kind of form, and I realized it early on, I started struggling with addiction.
Okay.
You know, whenever you're going out partying and you're the one that people are telling you, like, hey, man, you need to cut back.
Right.
Got a little intense. And then so spending my time there, honestly, I started going through a little bit of burnout.
Yeah.
And that burnout kind of drove me to alcoholism a little bit more.
Okay.
Just the feeling of burnout, you feel stressed, tired, helpless, and it just kind of all tumbled and made things a little bit worse. And then so towards the end of it, I really had a feeling. I was like, man, I got to do something different. I have like my wife at the time. She's like, you got to stop. We got to figure out something different. We had a kid on the way now as well too.
That'll shake you up.
It shook me up pretty good.
Yeah.
And then so from there, I started looking at other places. Working in like with barbecue, and then also just being like, I was a pretty big alcoholic. I just felt gross all the time. Did not feel well. And then so I saw a ad out up on Indeed for a help with opening a health food restaurant up here in Bentonville called Sonny's. Yeah. And then in my mind, I was like, okay, Sonny's health food restaurant, maybe I can get a little bit different change, get to a different place.
Maybe a healthier environment, maybe.
Healthier environment is what I was thinking, yeah. And then so make the move up here, start off there, start opening up Sonny's as well. This was for Kelly Walton's restaurant as well, and I worked with like Travis McConnell.
The great Travis McConnell.
Great Travis. He's a good guy. I love that man.
He is awesome.
Yeah. And so we got it up and running, but unfortunately my addiction held on pretty strong.
Okay.
And then, so my time there, I took a few trips to the ER.
Oof.
Yeah, quite a few. Mostly for like withdrawals. It's like hell. It was rough. And I'd go in, get a little bit better, come back out, and then I'd fall back off the boat again.
Sure.
And then, so like through this whole time of dealing with addiction, I'm still in these kitchens, still trying to I'm still honing my craft, trying to wade my way through the chaos, but I still keep on falling off the boat again. I'm trying to get better, but something would always happen. I'd slip and fall.
Is it just? I don't even know the word for this, but is it just habit at that point when you're in the kitchen? It's
absolutely
okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And so at that time, I got lucky and I got an opportunity. There was an opening in a pretty nice rehab.
Oh, good.
In the area. And then so I take a leave of absence from Sonny's, go to this rehab, and then I spend 2 months there. Honestly, I loved it. I learned a lot, learned about myself, like a lot about myself as well.
Good.
But while I was there, I had like a lot of time to think, and thinking on myself, I was like, so addiction, the restaurant industry is pretty riddled with it. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, of course.
And it's really hard to try to find a way to get out of the restaurant industry when that's all you know.
100%.
Yeah, it was, honestly, I felt a little helpless with it, but I befriended the chef there that cooked for the whole staff and all the patients there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time talking with her and just trying to, which was awesome because I still got to cook while I was there. She'd let me actually come
how
into
cool
the
is
kitchen.
that?
It was awesome.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, there's a little resentment from the other patients that I got like
Probably.
the extra privilege to be able to go in there and cook whatever I wanted.
That's right.
It was awesome. But so talking with her name was Chef Nicole. I still talk to her to this day. She helped me out a lot.
Outstanding.
And so really we just talked about like, okay, how do you navigate having a sober life in the restaurant industry? And honestly, it seemed a little tough, but she helped me work through it because herself was sober. She still able to do this, but given she is working in a kitchen that's in a healthy environment, a rehab, and while I was there, they helped me kind of gather a lot of tools. I learned a lot more about myself. I mean, because you have like awesome resources to counseling and stuff.
Outstanding.
It was really nice. So talking with her, I kind of gained the confidence to try to get back in it. I go back into the restaurants. And so I come back out. I'm contemplating to go back to the restaurant I was just at. But I did see an opening just right across the street here for a CDC at Oven and Tap.
Okay.
So I go over there. I meet Luke Wetzel. Mm-hmm. Amazing guy. Loved what he was doing. Loved what he had to say. I loved where he come from. He worked out at Chez Panisse in Berkeley. Well, I love that restaurant as well, too. And so I applied for the position. He liked me enough. He brought me on.
Nice.
And then I spent a few years over there at Oven and Tap. And I loved it there. I started to get a really good grasp on my addiction, but I did have another pretty good fall off the boat.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what was it like? Because I know the focus has to be on cooking and food, but there's also got to be a focus on not falling off the boat, as it were.
Yeah, well, and it's tough too, because I mean, you still have like all these people who are like after shift, like, oh, hey, do you want to shift here, or do you want to go out and go party here at so and so server's house or whatever?
Right.
So it's really tough. But I fell off the boat again, and then so at this time, I'm going back to the ER, and at this point, I have been to the ER multiple times over the course of like a couple years.
Yeah.
And to the point to where the nurses and doctors know me by name. You don't want to be a regular there. You want to be a regular at a restaurant, not at a hospital.
Right.
And so pretty down on myself and trying to think about like, okay, what am I doing wrong? I've gone to this awesome place to kind of get the tools and resources I know to kind of handle myself out in the world again, especially in this industry. And then talking to the doctor, and he's like, hey, man, so every time you have come back in here, it has been so much worse each time. You've gotten, like, you get a little bit sober, you do good for a little while, you come back in, but each time you've fallen off, it's been significantly worse. He's like, look, these are your numbers, these are your charts, blah, 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 it's not looking good.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, he's like, honestly, if you end up doing this again, come back in here, you might not be alive this next time.
Jeez.
And so that really shocked me. And then so get out of there, and then I go back. I'm back at Oven and Tap.
Okay.
And then so now I have like this newfound shock, but I also have this new encouragement to like not screw this up again.
And at this point, I'm assuming you're a father as well. I'm assuming
that's what makes it even more so scary.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't leave, and so I get back into it. And then working real close with like Luke and Molly over there, and they really helped supported me as well too.
Okay.
And after that, I mean, I had the scare, and then I turned that terror into like, I don't know, my own power. And then I kind of figured out if like I turned all that energy that I spent with like boozing or drugs or whatever, and then just really turned that, and because all that energy's got to go somewhere, so I just turned that into focusing on myself and my craft and what I'm doing with food. And luckily it kind of stuck. And then
did you feel the craft part just kind of explode?
It really did. Well, honestly, it kind of turned into like a weird OCD. So, I mean, which is good. I mean, like, what's that saying? Idle hands are the devil's advocate.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I'll work a 12-hour shift, cooking the whole shift, managing like the whole kitchen.
Yeah.
Come back, I can't go to sleep. Still cook at home. It drives my wife crazy.
I'm
but
sure.
It keeps me busy, and it makes me a little bit better each day at what I'm doing. So, it's a benefit.
That focus, man. Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah. MJ's Pizzeria's Miles James made his name at James at the Mill locally until he got reviewed by a freelancer having lunch with family. That review landed in the New York Times, and that's when he became known internationally.
They hired me. Rose was an incredible mentor to me and showed me this Italian cooking that everything in my background to that point had been French and really, really buttoned up, and this, little brunoise and this perfect little sauce and reductions and, the methodology behind French cooking, which I love. And so it was a departure to go to an Italian kitchen where everything's a little bit more from the heart and soul and just a soulful type of cooking. And so Rose Gray, amazing, wonderful lady, and learned how to make polenta correctly, and I learned how to grill items, and I learned how to cook from the garden, and I learned how to that was the kind of the start of this whole relationship that developed into this later thing when we came back to Arkansas and developing kind of our own cuisine, and that whole relationship with farmers. And when I came back, I took more classes, studied at International School of Confectionery Arts in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and two Swiss incredible chefs. And took some pastry classes there. I wanted to be a well-rounded chef, and so then I had this girl that I was chasing, Courtney.
Oh boy,
Courtney James now, and Courtney Lambeth at the time. And, and so
and you guys knew each other previous to you going abroad.
We actually had
or not
a date when we were 10 years old. And my uncle was Jim's Lambeth's associate of 30 years, Hun Bay M. Kind of hooked us up and said, "Hey, I've got this new nephew, and I want to introduce you, Courtney." And we went to see Smokey and the Bandit and went to Tim's Pizza.
Heck yeah!
I mean, how cool is that? Tim's Pizza, Smokey and the Bandit. Get to.
I'd do that today.
Yes, I would too. But yeah, Courtney and I go way back, and what a great love affair and wonderful relationship we've had, and a great marriage, and our daughter Paris, and just the whole thing. She's been there for me, and
awesome.
It's wonderful.
Storybook. Yeah, absolutely. Well, then you get back to Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah. First, a stop in Santa Fe, and worked for Mark Miller at the Coyote Cafe, and that was fortuitous.
What was the desert like?
Incredible. Yeah. I love it. Still love it. Want to go back every day. Just amazing. And I walked in, and one of the guys that I went to culinary school with, Ken Rislow, is on the line. He's working there. And he's like, "Get out of here. Come on."
That's great. Yeah.
Man, just
awesome.
It was in sync from the moment I walked in the door.
Yeah.
It was Mark Kiffin, still one of my incredible dear friends. And Mark Kiffin's gone on to run the Compound and be a James Beard chef, James Beard award-winning chef, and Dorona, Distinguished Restaurants of North America, and just, award after award. But Mark Kiffin was the chef there, and worked for Chef Mark Miller, who was the owner. And man, what a great place! Just a great time in Santa Fe. Yeah, big influence.
And then you come back to Indo. Tell me about what specifically drew you back and what the timing was.
Jim Lambeth, Joyce Lambeth, Courtney, my future wife. We had an opportunity.
Okay.
Jim had bought the old Johnson Mill.
Yeah.
In the parking lot. Just driving by, he saw a for sale sign going up. He turned around and made a deal in the parking lot.
How about that?
With the guy.
Unbelievable.
And it was in the Johnson family for years and years. It was
San Miguel restaurant general manager Jesus Rodriguez talks about his dad, Jose, getting his start in restaurants in Houston after immigrating. Man, he was a hustler.
When he arrived to La Hacienda, he just kind of one of those, I just want to work. It didn't matter. So he was willing to work, he did a dish pit, did everything, And finally he got to the point where he's like, I'm a pretty good bartender, and they let him stick there. And he had it was his bar I got to visit it last year, and he showed me, and it's just a small space, and it's got 2 margarita machines, And for some reason, they don't serve like draft beer.
Huh.
I noticed in a lot of places that we would go to, it was all bottled beer. So it was just a cooler for bottled beer.
Oh, wow.
But he would tell us, he's like, yeah, he's like, I was the bartender. I was the guy, making the drinks. He's like, it was a ton of work because back in the day, he's like, we'd do a lot more older drinks, like, old fashions,
sure.
Manhattan, stuff like that. And he's like, so there's a point where basically the general manager and everyone decided that they're going to switch to aprons for the servers and waiters
Instead of coats.
Yeah, because they would all wear coats.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's a certain type of coat they would wear. I honestly never got to witness the coats.
Sure.
I only grew up seeing aprons. And this guy, big machismo guy is like, no. He's like, that's for women. He's like,
So funny.
He's like, I don't wear that. And so the guy walked out and quit. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. He's like, the whole apron thing is not for me. And so my dad, just happened to witness what went down, and he's like, the guy, the manager at the time,
sure.
turned around and he's like, hey, Mijo, you think you could be the waiter? He's like, you want to be a waiter? He's like, well, now's your chance. He's like, here you go. And he put it on him, and that's when he started as a waiter.
Heck yeah.
I mean,
what a great story.
And for the most part, my mom even talks about it, how my dad was really he was a quiet person.
Sure.
But he understood the business, that he's like, talking sells. And so he had to get into it to,
break out of the shell.
Yeah, and he really did. And to this day, my mom's like, man, she's like, your dad can make friends anywhere or talk to anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. I was like, and that's another reason he's just got a good vibe with Fayetteville and the people of Fayetteville, and a lot of people know my dad.
Oh yeah, he's never met a stranger.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know, they'll be like, who is he, or is he the owner? A lot of the times, and my dad, he'll throw them off and sometimes say, he's like, I'm the maintenance man. He's like, I'm just here to help.
That's it.
Yeah. And I mean,
I heard that already from someone else today. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to hit that a lot. And
yeah.
He for the most part, when he became a waiter, he had already worked a little bit of everything. So, it really helped out for whenever they got their chance. And
it's great.
Stepping into opening the business and, doing the whole restaurant and everything.
And let's talk about that. How and why Arkansas from Houston?
So I think in the time, Houston was already, it was still a good area, but I think he was already starting to see that it was starting to become a little bit more dangerous than,
sure,
what they thought. And they're like, well, they had my aunt, my mother's sister, she had been coming up here to Arkansas in this area. I believe Tawnytown is where she was going to, and they were picking berries. And at that time, they're like, hey, it was a seasonal thing. And they're like, it's pretty good money. They're like, I think you should, just check out the place if you guys want to see, maybe it could be somewhere you guys can raise a family. And my parents like, all right, let's take a trip. And they told me they came and checked it out. Just, popped in and out, basically. And they're like, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
Like, this is good enough.
Perfect.
And, whenever they made that trip, it was, 6 siblings, and I think he said at the time he had maybe $900 or $1,000 in his pocket.
Whew.
And they decided, let's relocate to Northwest Arkansas. We lived in Fayetteville. There used to be a trailer park behind the Brahms there, where college.
Yeah. And Sunbridge.
Yeah, Sunbridge.
Yeah.
So we always lived kind of in that area.
Okay.
And eventually we got a trailer.
Nice.
And that's where we
start, right?
Yeah, that's where we we started off, and it was at the time, it was for us beautiful. It was something that you didn't know you're poor. You didn't.
No.
It was just you're just a kid, and you're growing up, and
you get to live by a place where you can get ice cream, dude.
Yeah. That was a thing for me.
Yeah.
I had an older brother that worked there.
There you go.
And he'd show up with ice cream sometimes, and
perfect, man.
Me and my twin, we'd be like, man, that's awesome.
Lassong Pinoy opened this April around the corner of 8th and Walnut, and it's the unofficial entrance to downtown Rogers, of course. The spot has some serious family history for them, but it was also the epicenter of the Memorial Day tornadoes.
And I couldn't figure out why. So I don't have a lot of patience in the first place.
Oh, boy.
But I couldn't figure out why there was just delay after delay after delay. With every single step, there was a delay.
Yeah.
A delay with the architect, a delay with the city, a delay with the construction, everything.
Gosh. Yeah.
And so finally, we were supposed to open last June. And finally, we had just the frame up.
Okay.
Finally.
Oh, gosh.
We should have been open in June, okay? We
Yeah.
had the frame up in May,
Oh.
and then tornadoes came.
Oh.
So it took everything down. The roof, all the walls that had been put up, all the windows.
And for those that don't know, there was a Memorial Day tornado that ravaged a part of Rogers, and this was the heart of it,
Yes.
where it happened.
Yes. I mean, we had our air conditioning on one side and the roof on the other side.
Oh, my gosh.
It was devastating. But I will say this: had we opened, we would have lost everything. I mean, I bought things from the Philippines. I had, all of this stuff shipped from the Philippines so that I could have a truly authentic place.
And they're talking about the decor.
The decor,
Everything,
yeah. Had we been ready to open,
Yeah.
we would have lost everything. Instead,
Gosh.
we lost, the roof and the walls and things like
Yeah.
that, but nowhere near. And it is because I believe that God was looking out for us.
Well,
That's
and
the only answer that I have.
What time of the day was it when that storm happened? Do you guys remember by chance? I don't, but
I believe it was overnight.
I feel like it was overnight
Okay.
because we
Yeah.
came in here the morning and we're just driving around and
Okay.
like the gas
Yeah.
was leaking, so the fire
Oh.
department had to come try
Oh,
to shut
no.
off gas, and
Oh.
it was just
Yeah, and then we decided to come check it.
yeah,
And
it was bad.
it was bad.
Marceau's Comfort Food and Lounge is also in downtown Rogers, and owner Jordan Connolly talks about how they were also affected by the Memorial Day tornadoes and how they built back.
That night was a tough night. I got the call that the restaurant had been hit, and so I got up. It was 3:30 in the morning. I'm driving over here, knocked down trees everywhere, and I get here and I see what's left of Susie Q's, and I see our awnings completely gone. The whole roof is cracked in half, and water's just pouring into the restaurant. The whole backyard is destroyed. All the equipment we had back there. None of it really made it, and it was a very scary time for us. And luckily, we were able to pull through. My brother was able to help a lot with helping me float through those times and
Yeah.
get the restaurant back on its feet. But we were luckily able to bounce back, and the community really supported us. And I really wanted to give a shout out to the city of
Yeah.
Rogers. They made it happen, because we were down for a little bit, and they came and supported and kept us in business.
Sassafras Springs Vineyard and Winery co-owner Cheryl Long and her son, General Manager Drew Gordon, talk about two wines of theirs winning two very impressive awards and how they found out about one of them. As far as winemaking goes, from an Arkansas winemaker, I'm not sure a lot of people would expect a double gold at the Finger Lakes International Wine Competition, and you guys had a couple of them.
We did.
Tell me
yes.
about that.
So our Syrah, we entered it in the Finger Lakes International Wine Competition, and it received a double gold. I believe there was 4,000 wines entered in that competition, and I believe it's like 200 that they actually do double golds for.
That's
and
amazing.
So we were really proud of that. That's international though, so wines from all over
everybody.
the world. Yes.
Yeah.
And then our Pinot Noir actually won a double gold as well, and that is in the Great American Wine Competition that's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I think about 2,500 wines are in that one. And
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on how many they do on the double gold, but two very well-known competitions here in the United States for international competitions, and we were very proud that we won. double
And
gold.
was the Pinot Noir, was that the first one of the two?
It was the Syrah.
Syrah was the first of the
Syrah
two.
was the first one that we won in the Finger Lakes, and then Pinot Noir and the Great American.
Were you guys there, or did you get the news via...
We weren't there, but that's, maybe we need to do that next time.
Well, and the
Sounds like a
reason I
fun
ask
trip.
is I would love to know what the reaction was when you guys get the news you won double gold and you're thinking, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, we shipped the wines there for them for the judges. to.
And then they
to
judge it, and
sample.
they basically send you back a letter to let you know.
A letter.
It's a letter. Yep. They send you back a letter and
a medal.
On
and-
horseback
yes.
with a telegram. Come on, people, get online. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
If you know that Odd Soul's Jeffro Brown is an absolute character. Before his time at the Odd Soul, Jeffro had just returned from living in Scotland and caught on with the landscaping crew. This led to a fortuitous introduction to Jesse Core of Core Brewing and Distilling. You get back here.
Yes.
And you get back here for good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
I moved in with my cousin who worked for Tyson.
Okay.
And she was telling me that her neighbor also worked for Tyson, but he was trying to launch a brewery. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because I'd kind of been introduced to craft beer in Scotland. And I was working for a landscaper at the time. And on Fridays, or whatever day of the week we got done early, I would take my crew back to my house and I would mow my cousin's yard. And it was in a cul-de-sac. And it was such a weird angle at the front that it was easier to do the neighbor's yard than to miss it. And I knew, like I said, he was working at Tyson. His mom had cancer down at Fort Smith. So he was down there a lot. He was a single dad. He had a lot on his plate. Yeah. And so I just started mowing his yard, do the backyard too. And after like 3 weeks, there's a knock at the door. And this guy I've met once said, "Are you mowing my lawn?" I'm like, yeah, like no offense, dude. I know you got a lot going on. And it was, there's me and a crew of guys. We were able to just, it was like 7 minutes out of our lives. He's like, "Dude, that is the nicest thing anybody's done for me in a while.
That's great.
I really appreciate it." And so that was how I met Jesse Core.
Okay.
And he said, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed that there's a big deep freeze on the back porch. That's a kegerator. Like, help yourself to beer anytime you're back there." And so
that's kind of ironic, you not being the biggest beer guy.
I'm not a beer drinker.
Yeah.
I drink a beer a month, maybe.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's just for sampling purposes. But so a few months went by, and he said, "Hey, I'm getting ready to open my brewery. Like, or at the very least, I want to show the investors around. I need somebody to clean tanks. Like, could you just come polish some stuff?" "Yeah, sure." So I went in, and I was working all through the night, polishing all this stainless steel, and then he was having this big investor day, and his uncle was kind of bartending, giving out samples, and it was overrun. There was like a 2-hour-long line for beer.
Oh.
So I stepped back and like, "Hi, I'm Jesse's neighbor," and just started pouring beer. At the end of it, Jesse's like, "Well, I guess I'm going to have a tap room. Do you want to be a bartender?" "Yep." I guess.
There it is.
So I'd work through the day at John Deere, and then, by then I was back at John Deere.
Okay.
I worked for John Deere like 7 different times.
Good gosh, I was going to ask.
Yeah. Apparently I was a reasonable worker because they knew I wasn't going to last.
Is your shirt still hanging on the back of a door there, you think?
No, it changed ownership, so it's got the wrong monogram on it.
Gotcha. I got you. All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, I worked there on and off, like for 12 years, 7 different stints.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I bartended at Core. I started out basically as a janitor, worked my way up to bartender, and over the course of 3 years, eventually worked my way to head brewer.
Golly. From polishing tanks.
Yeah, to filling them.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was just kind of out of necessity. Like I never got properly trained as a brewer. Like something happened, a guy was let go, or I forget.
Yeah.
At the very least, nobody was in town, and we were running out of stuff, and I had empty tanks. I'm like, I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah.
And it went all right.
Private chef and author of An Ozark Culinary History, Aaron Rowe, talked with us about being at the Cane Hill Harvest Festival and helping a woman can hominy where there was actually some potential danger involved.
Being open to whatever life brings you, and that's part of an adventurous spirit, right? So I was at the Cane Hill Harvest Festival in Cane Hill, which is our first settlement, first college, and first woman graduate, all from that area.
No way.
Tiny little stop on the road. They don't even have a gas station. They just have a post office. They probably have about 100, 200 people that live in that town. But they host a harvest festival. And the lady that was stirring the pot of hominy in this black kettle, it was just captivating to me. So I went up to her, Miss Carolyn, and I asked her what she was making, and she said, hominy, but I have to can this. My backs went out. I don't think I can lift the pressure cooker. I volunteered to go to her old family homestead and help her can. She had just lost her air conditioning in the middle of August, and John, man, we were sweating bullets.
Oh, how old was she?
probably in her 60s,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And I think normally she would have been able to handle it, but she just needed some extra help, which worked for me.
Sure.
So we did about 40 jars of hominy that day. I got to see the old cellar, and that's a family that still lives very much off the land, the way that early homesteaders would here in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really fun.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh. Sweating to the oldies, man. Let me tell you.
I just didn't want to drop the pressure cooker. She said, here, put it on this tiny little stool, but don't drop it or it'll blow a hole through my roof. No pressure.
None at all, right? Former Stonebreaker executive chef Tyler Rogers talks about being a sous chef at the Michelin star Elizabeth restaurant in Chicago. They were sickly creative, going from a menu based on Wes Anderson films to this.
We went from that one, honestly, to the next menu we did was Noma 1.0. And for anyone listening, Noma is a restaurant in Copenhagen. They were voted best restaurant in the world numerous times. Chef Elena had done I think an extended stage, or she worked at Noma. I can't remember which one, honestly, but she called Renee, and what we did was we took recipes from their first book they put out and adapted them with Midwestern ingredients.
Interesting.
It was really fun. We would go foraging in Indiana on our days off for
Nice.
ingredients, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this one, but she would have this thing where it'd be like, whoever could forage the most Queen Anne's lace or violets on their way into work. So I mean, literally, I'm walking from my apartment in Ravenswood to Elizabeth and Lincoln Square, and looking in people's yards for flowers and stuff.
Yeah.
And she would give us, whoever got the most would get a bag of edibles. And I'm not gonna say how many times I won that competition, but I think I probably hold the record.
Pizzeria Ruby co-owner chef Mike Robertshaw grew up around food. Here he talks about the influences that were around him and got him into cooking. Side note, there's some explicit language in this one. So chef, obviously you've got a food background on your family, in your family's history, if you will, as you've already explained. Is that what got you into food professionally?
I would say so. That my mother. It was mom. But dad wasn't around. He worked a lot. You know what I mean? So mom always tried to feed the three of us, my older brother Derek and my little sister Steph. So every night of the week it was coming home and her trying to put something together. So it was always watching her struggle to get that done, where I really kind of took a shine and helped. And there's pictures of me standing on a fucking stool stirring marinara. Mom would make red sauce for a Sunday to make pasta dinner, and it would start Saturday morning. You know what I mean? So
of course.
We'd have pancakes, and she'd start the sauce, and we would eat tomorrow. So it was always always helping, always snacking. You know what I mean? Stealing whatever I could.
Hell yeah.
So it was kind of that. I just kind of fell in love with it. But I also grew up in an era where it was fucking Craig Claiborne books were on the shelves at my house. You know, and there was Graham Kerr and the Galloping Gourmet and Julia. And it was just PBS was my favorite thing to watch. We were poor as fuck. You know, we didn't have any money. It was PBS and local stations. So it was the great chefs of the world.
Yeah.
It was seeing a French flat top when I was 9 years old. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, man.
It was just the coolest shit ever. It just kind of, it just really, I was an awkward kid. You know what I mean? It's just kind of it felt right to me. Creating and bringing joy. For some reason, I'm my mother's child, man. Always taking care of everybody.
So you, out of high school, you're like, okay, I'm doing it.
Well, I didn't even graduate high school, but I started cooking early, and I was a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Growing up,
I get it.
I get it. Say they don't like it when you fucking light people on fire on the bus. You tend to not want to do that stuff. Don't call me fat, bro. So needless to say, I didn't make it past about 10th grade.
I understand.
Then just started literally finding chefs. I started at a young age working for some really talented people. I worked at a place, one of my first real formative jobs, at a place called The Good Table in Cape Elizabeth, which is still there today.
Oh, wow.
And I learned by cooking fucking brunch. Don't even get me started, John. Don't get me started. I can't tell you how many eggs I separated and butter I clarified.
How did that not chase you away?
Oh my God, I love the insanity of it. Me and one other guy named Danny would do $10,000 brunches, just the two of us.
Stop it.
Oh, dude. And we're talking coastal Maine, Cape Elizabeth, a half a mile from Two Light State Park.
What year is this?
This was 1996.
So 90s, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 90s. Yeah. 96 is probably when I started cooking.
10 grand brunch in the 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, and we were high. We were Danny was a stoner. Like, he would sneak out every 5 minutes getting high. But man, watching that guy cook home fries and fucking pancakes was incendiary. Like, it was amazing.
my God.
Yeah.
Brenda Swango owns the River Grill, and a while back she wanted to start something unique that would appeal to a younger crowd. She succeeded with Dining in the Dark.
I happen to like Chelsea Handler.
Yeah,
And
the comedian.
Yes, watch her late nights. And she wrote this book called Where's My Vodka, I think. So
I haven't read it, but
okay,
it sounds like her.
So I was reading that book, and one of the chapters, or one of the things she was talking about, this Dining in the Dark in New York, it was a restaurant called Opaque.
Okay.
And her whole experience there was just hilarious. I mean, I was rolling, and I was like going, like, I've got to do something like this. So I started researching like where that came from, like, how did they start Opaque? And so it actually started overseas in Europe.
Okay.
But it was some monks that were, trying to help the blind and give them work and jobs, and so they opened up a restaurant.
Interesting.
And they did. The blind people started, and that's how they made money, and that's how it all got started.
Interesting.
But then they started restaurants over here.
Ooh, what a great
And
idea.
So I said, well, let's just do a pop-up night and see how it goes. And so I researched it all, and like in Opaque, they had like infrared glasses and stuff. And so I went out and I bought some.
Did you
like,
really?
Yeah, I was like, let's see how this works. Like, how does it work? But if you don't use them every day, your depth perception is off. And so as we were, trying it just for the first time, we were running into tables we couldn't see. We were trying to set things down. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. Those aren't going to work.
I can
We're
only
gonna have
imagine.
This is a one-night thing, so we'll take the lights down. And so we thought, well, but we couldn't get it dark enough. So I was like, okay, it's blindfolds.
There you go.
They're going to wear blindfolds. So we decided that we'll just take the lights down as far as we can. The customers will wear blindfolds, and we'll still give them the same experience. And the whole idea behind it is that your senses are awakened. When you have sight, you see a pizza, and you don't really eat it and savor it because you already kind of know what that's going to taste like, or what you think it's going to taste like.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're eating, and you have to use your sense of smell and touch and taste, it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to awaken those senses. And then we usually we do some sort of entertainment, and a lot of times I'll have like someone playing a guitar, and they're walking around, so it's very heightened senses, and it's fun, and it's the loudest this restaurant will ever be.
Okay.
Because if you don't have your sight and you don't see someone responding to you, you tend to want to talk louder.
Because what I was going to say was, I would think, now if it were me, I'm so paying attention to other senses, I'm not really talking because I'm focusing on smell, and I'm focusing on, it's like whenever we're driving around and trying to find somewhere, we turn down the radio because we're looking for something with our eyes, right?
But as you're doing that, you want to talk about it. You're like, oh, I smell this. I smell that
of
texture.
course.
That texture. What are you getting? What are you getting?
I see.
So everybody's
Okay, that makes
talking,
sense.
and then you add some wine to the scenario, because we do.
Why didn't you say that at the start? I get it now, right?
Yeah. So we do a wine pairing along with it, if you want to do the wine pairing.
Yeah.
And so it just, people are having so much fun and trying to figure it out, see if they've got it right. And conversation happens a little more wine, and it does. It gets pretty loud, and it's the loudest it'll ever be.
Oh my gosh.
And we sell the restaurant out now. So like we started it, and we would just sell out the smaller private room for $32.
Okay.
And then we got to where we could do 50, and so we'd sell this room out, and then still try to do regular business. And then once I got to 80 people, I was like, okay, we're gonna book out the whole restaurant. We'll just keep the bar. But now we'll sell about 80 or about 100 seats for this, and we'll sell it
the whole place.
Yep. The bar always makes me a little nervous because they're high top tables, but usually when we tell people they're going to be in there, they're aware of it, and I'm always like, don't move from your chair until we get to you, because even using the restroom or anything they do, they stay blindfolded. So we train them in. They hold on, and when we enter into the dining room, they're blindfolded from the start when they walk in.
If it's your first time in here and you don't know the bathroom, good luck.
Yeah. Well, once they get to the bathroom, we let them take the blindfolds off.
Okay, good.
But to the bathroom, they keep it on, and then they knock on the door, and we take them back.
Gosh, I'm assuming a lot of spills, maybe.
I tell these people when they come in, you really don't have that, because again, when you can't see, you're just that much more cautious usually,
Okay.
as long as you don't have too much wine.
Okay.
But we always tell them,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we give them little tips, like, keep your hands flat on the table, and you'll slide.
Oh, okay.
And everything's what's
Yeah.
supposed to be. And typically, you're picking and using, and you don't really even think about it, but even when you're dying, I mean, if you pick up a fork, you know where your mouth is. So
Sure.
you'll do it. And everything that we prepare for you, we try to do it in so it's easy to pick up. If you had to pick it up with your hands,
Yeah.
or if we do a meat, we'll slice it.
Yeah.
So that it's easier for you, so you don't have
Okay.
to use a knife and fork, unless you want to make smaller bites. And a lot of people will use their knives and try to cut and stuff like that. And we use like a clock system. So
Okay.
if you still have like a lot of food left in a certain area, we'll say, if you're still hungry, you still have protein at 4:00, or with this dish, you want to use
Nice.
a fork. But like I said, we work really hard to make sure whatever the dish is that we're doing for you, that it is easy for you to pick up with your hands if you need.
So the server's got to put it in front of you, like in an order.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
the chicken breast is at 6 or whatever,
right.
steak at
and,
6.
And we
yeah.
don't tell you. We don't tell you. Yeah, we don't tell you what you eat. You have no idea what you're getting.
Oh, well, that's the blindfold,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
Until the end of the evening, and then we disclose the whole menu to you. So it's fun, and then everybody's excited to see if they got anything right.
Sure.
And a lot of times they do, and it's. I found like after we started doing this, like the third, fourth year, we started getting so many chefs coming through that.
Oh,
would
no
do it.
kidding.
Yeah. It was
Really?
fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because they were like, I want to go do it. I want to see if I can really detect,
Wow.
what's in there. So it's kind of like a, blind tasting with wine. Sommeliers. It's like
Sure.
It's, you always look forward to seeing if you can figure it out.
Rick Boosie is the owner-operator of Kaya Chocolate. You want to talk about hard work? Here he talks about the sacrifices he endured in starting up Kaya.
And I was leaving, or was kind of doing a dual job. So I was at Dell Computer.
Mm-hmm.
I ran sales for Arkansas and Oklahoma, enterprise sales. And so I would go to work. Once I got serious about it, I would go to work at 7, take off. I had customers over in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Northwest Arkansas. And then I had a couple of customers in Little Rock, and I had Murphy down in El Dorado.
Okay.
And I did about 80,000 miles in a car every year. And
Crazy.
I would go to work, and where I used to just stay on the road during the week and come home on Thursday or Friday, I would come home every night, and I would make chocolate, and then I'd go to bed about 1 or 2 in the morning and get up, and I'd just rinse and repeat. And I did this for like almost 2 years.
Golly.
And then my wife walked in one day, and she said, pick one.
Good for her.
And we were 25 years in at that point. And so it was a good, strong marriage. And,
Good.
And she says, which one I'm going to pick? She goes, I don't care, hon. You're no good to me, and you're no good to Dell. So pick one.
Wow.
I said, you know which one we're picking. She goes, I don't care about money. I just want you home. I want you happy. And so I was happy at Dell. It was fun. I mean, it was a fun job, but it was on the road constantly. And we had teenage daughters, and so I was
That's tough.
Okay. Then I walked in probably a week later to my boss. I said, hey, I think I'm going to resign. And he's like, oh, you're just burnt out. You just need a week off. Take a week off. So I took a week off, came back, and we did this for almost a month. And I finally
believed you.
I quit on April 30th, and my first day free wings was May 1st, 2015.
There you go.
So, but it was almost about 2 or 3 years of like nonstop trying to figure out what Kaya is going to be when we grow up.
Crystal Bridges executive chef Tim Ordway decided that he wanted to be in the food industry at a young age. In high school, he worked his way up into some good jobs, but his schedule was insane. And once in college, it continued.
The chef I was working with at the time, I had left Chick-fil-A and I was opened a restaurant in downtown Fredericksburg.
Okay.
It's no longer open, but it was fun while I was there because I was young and I was working like this wild. Like I'd go to work at 6 o'clock at night. I'd get off at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I'd still go to high school the next day.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'd go home, take a nap, finish senior year, come home about noon on like work release. That was interesting.
Perfect.
Sleep, but at that point he was like, stay, I'll teach you everything you need to know about cooking. I was like, man, you can't even keep your business open. And so I went ahead and made my way down to Charlotte, North Carolina. That was a blast. That was a great decision for me professionally.
So at Johnson & Wales, and they've got a good program there.
Absolutely, yeah. I was there for 4.5 years. I did the Associates in Culinary Arts and a Bachelor's of Science in Food Service Management and beverage operations.
Yeah.
So I make a little joke, that many people go to college to drink. I went to college to learn how to drink because we had the best time. Between cooking international food, learning all the basics, seeing a lot of people, cooking for distinguished visiting chefs was a blast. But some of my favorite memories are like the beverage classes. We're in a room where it's like the whole room is lined with bar wells.
Sure.
And, you're in a different uniform, and the instructor's standing in front of you, shouting out cocktails, and you're making these like colored water cocktails, and then you have like a tasting afterwards, and then everyone's thinking about alcohol. So where do you go? The bar right after.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that was always a blast. Everything from brewing beer to wine knowledge to cocktails, like on top of all of the culinary knowledge. I felt like I was 3 steps ahead of everybody around me.
Well, and you're like, God, this is college.
Yeah.
This is a great way to do college.
Yep.
That's awesome. So when you, after 4.5 years, when you graduate, you stick around. I mean, why would you leave Charlotte? There's plenty,
Absolutely.
especially like you're probably half mile away. You pick up a job at Weston.
Yeah, well, actually, it was interesting. I had the job at the Weston through college. I was working through college the whole time. 40 plus hours at work, and then 40 hours or 35 hours of school. I mean, I didn't sleep, but I was young.
Yeah,
didn't need sleep then. But and that was started. The Weston was interesting because I had to give up a job to start the job at the Weston. I had to take an unpaid internship. And I did. It took all my time.
Yep.
And I told them, I said, I'm going to have a job here when I'm done with this. And they were like, well, if a job opens, you can have it. And I was like,
it'll happen.
It'll be there.
Yeah.
And, I was a little bold, but it did.
Well, sometimes you have to be.
Yeah.
You and I were talking beforehand. If you're going to be a good chef, I've never met a good chef that doesn't have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder at least.
Yeah, to me, I think there was a little past. It was past ego. It was, to me, I need to advocate for myself.
Sure.
It's like, if I'm going to do this for my education requirements or for furthering my career, it needs to further my career.
Yeah.
Not just be something I can talk to somebody about. And it's always been something to look back on.
The Venetian Inn has a colorful history. The most colorful part might be the stories of Aunt Alice. Current owners Jeff and Melissa Bowen love telling this story about her.
She could actually tell a joke, a dirty joke, to just about anybody, but basically father and a preacher could be in here sitting there. She could tell the same dirty joke, and everybody come out laughing. She was just a jokester.
Oh, can I tell the story about the beer guy?
My answer is yes.
Okay.
I don't know if you're looking at me, but I'm in.
Okay, so our beer distributor, McBride Distributing, where we have to get our beer from, the guy comes out here to bring us a sign, and he says, oh my gosh, he said, I have the funniest story I have to tell you. I'm like, okay, great, what is he going to tell me? He said, so this guy's probably in his 60s now, about ready to retire. Forgive me if I'm wrong with that, he could be younger, but anyway. He comes out here and he says, he was 18, his first driving delivery job, and he comes to deliver some beer, and he comes up to the door, and Aunt Alice comes up out of the kitchen, and it's hot, it's summer, and there's no AC in the back, and she comes out only wearing her bra and her pants, and she says, come on in, bring the beer in right here. And he said, I was so embarrassed. He was only 18, and so I told him, I said, well, I can guarantee you right now, I will always be wearing my shirt.
There you go. That's good. That's good. Times do change a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. On his way up in the business, Hive executive chef Micah Klasky followed his boss from Jonesboro Country Club to Rhode Island. It was a very formative time for him and ended with a good lesson.
He actually left that place, and I stayed on.
Okay.
So I stayed on, worked with the next chef who took over, stayed on as sous chef, had a lot of freedom, a lot of responsibility, and really enjoyed that. And then an opportunity came up for me. Basically, Shane, the chef that had left, he had left to take over a catering company at that point. Okay. And pretty much sent me or called me one day. I was about to say sent me a text. We weren't really texting that actively back then. But he was like
333-444-8888.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can do it without looking, but you swerve a little bit.
Right.
But he pretty much sent me a message. Was like, hey, you want to work in Rhode Island? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it.
Like the state?
Yeah, the state. So essentially, when I mentioned he had gone to Johnson and Wales up there,
Sure.
so he had this job that he had worked, in between seasons, and I guess they were looking for some help for that year, and he basically teed it up for me. So I moved to Rhode Island for a season.
Interesting. How was it?
It was great. It was nonstop. It was basically sun up to sun up. So I would get up in the morning, go down there, and I would prep from about 7 to about 9.
Wow.
And then I would take off for a couple hours, and then I would come back and close it down, and then go out and binge drink all night, and then get up and do it all again the next day. When I first moved up there, I was living in the chef's spare room.
Okay.
And then as it progressed, the ownership allowed me to move into what was essentially a studio apartment behind the building. So, no, it was great. I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, so if you picture where living with the chef, we're living in this, sort of community kind of thing.
Okay.
And then living behind the restaurant, we're living on this little peninsula that is nothing but, a few mansions and the strip of restaurants, which, there was basically us, a couple of little boutique shops, and the nation's oldest carousel, I think, and an ice cream parlor.
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. But you could literally, we could tell business on certain days by the amount of boats in the bay across the street,
how great.
Directly across. So I would get up in the morning, and I'm living literally on the backside of a gravel path that, in a house, the bottom is an art studio.
Interesting.
The top is their office, and then the other side is just a room with a bed in it. So that I lived in.
There you go.
So basically I would get up, I would go down, I would, work in the morning to prep, get that little break in the middle, I would run up to my room, I would go to this little secluded private beach, lay out and
nice.
Let the breeze hit me for a couple hours, try to wash off that hangover in the ocean. And then I would, get up, go back, and then burn it out for the rest of the night, and then rinse and repeat every day.
That's great. That's great, especially that age. What's better, right?
I mean, it was perfect for me. It was, I was doing a job that I'm very interested, I'm very excited about.
Sure.
I thought I knew what, I was at that age where I was very
everything.
confident. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know what the hell I'm doing. But also, it was the opportunity to sort of, and I think it's very important for everybody to get off, be alone for a while.
Absolutely right.
Go put yourself out of your comfort zone.
10,000%.
Yeah, really figure out who you are as a person.
No question.
And just see what the rest of the world has to offer, kind of thing.
Love was in the air in March at Leverett Lounge, especially when I asked owners Corey McCain and Reese Roberts how they met. I think you left out a big part of that Bordino's experience. Happens to be sitting to your left.
Well,
how did that happen?
We
were friends for a really long time.
We were friends for a very long time.
That's how it starts.
She was my boss for most of it.
Stop it.
I'm still his boss.
Still, in life and also in everything I do.
I got one of those.
Some people need them,
just keeps me on the right path. I'll just say that.
Mine's a 4th grade teacher. Perfect fit.
Oh yeah.
Perfect fit.
We met there. I vaguely remember the first day that we met, and I was on the line and she was on the other side of the line, and just kind of shakingly put her hand out to handshake, and maybe there was some sort of connection there.
Did sparks just fly off the hands when you were shaking?
I don't know. He made me nervous for some reason. It took me a long time to figure out why. And I vaguely remember there being, I was dating someone at the time, and I was like, I don't know why this guy makes me nervous.
Yeah.
There was a point where we grabbed a beer with a bunch of people after work, and I looked up and he was looking at me, and I was like,
uh-oh.
Do not fall in love with me, Corey McCain. And he said, okay.
So no deal. I will not do that.
Yeah.
That failed.
And then that relationship ended, and I remember we had become really good friends.
Yeah.
So, I remember being like, I just want to be somewhere comfortable. So I went over to his mom's house. Christy is a very comforting human. If anybody that knows her knows that for sure.
For sure, yeah.
And just came over to hang out. There were some people over there, and Corey walks out the front door, and Frankie, my stepdaughter now, has her fingers wrapped around, like learning how to walk, wrapped around his fingers, and he walked out the front door, and I was like, oh shit, that's what this has been the whole time. I didn't know until like that other relationship was fully ended, and I was like, oh,
Here we go.
that's what it was. That's why I was so nervous. Yeah.
Interesting.
It took me a while to.
Sure.
So we started dating in October,
Yeah.
and then
We got married in July.
we got
next
married
year,
in July of the
2017.
next year.
Yeah.
So 6, 7
Not
months
wasting any
after.
time.
Also, another example of kids being a great motivator to like get it together.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
We'd probably just still be dating if there wasn't a little tiny human to care for.
Yeah. It's a great point.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting married 7/7/17.
Oh, wow.
It was coming up. The date was coming up, and we were like, let's just be cool. So 7/7.
No, that's
Was it like
actually,
a Thursday?
Yeah, there wasn't a proposal. We were in the car driving somewhere, and I was like, "Hey, you know what we should do this summer?" And he
This
goes,
just reeks of romance.
"I know it's disgusting."
Yeah.
He goes, "Get married," and I was like, "Yeah, actually, that's
Shit.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say."
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
No epic proposal or anything, but
It's not really our style.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Back when Heirloom at the 1907 executive chef and co-owner Jason Paul was a teenager learning to cook, he worked for James Beard award-winning chef Alex Strada in Phoenix. Chef Paul got so good, Chef Strada told Jason's parents that he had plans for Jason after high school graduation.
I remember distinctly the moment when it was like Alex, the chef, he came to my house, or like I had a meeting with my parents and was like, listen, I don't think he should go to culinary school. He should just stay with us and like come to Vegas. We're doing this thing. And this was in like 99 when I graduated. He had gotten an offer to open a restaurant in Las Vegas in the Mirage Hotel. And I was debating whether I was just going to, when I graduated, I would go to culinary school or whatever.
Sure.
And it was kind of like, he's already learned a lot of the stuff he will learn there, but we'll continue to, basically help foster those things.
Yeah.
So I ended up, he kind of had to like convince, like, I don't think my mom wanted me to do that. Like, she wasn't like, oh, graduate high school and move to Las Vegas. That's a great idea. I don't think anyone's mom is like, that's a freaking great idea. Go do it, buddy. So that was definitely not in the plan, I'm sure. But it ended up happening. And yeah.
So off you go to Vegas.
I did. I graduated like May of 1999. I was still 17 years old.
Had to be easy to get an apartment.
I moved in with a couple guys that I knew already, because that was part of it, is like most of the team from the restaurant that we all worked together in Phoenix, who I'd become fairly close with, moved to Las Vegas as well. A good majority of them. Now, these guys were a lot older than me. That's the thing. They were like in their mid-20s. I was a teenager. So, yeah, I moved there, and I moved in with this guy named Scott Roos and this other guy named Dan Rossi. And they taught me a lot about life and a lot about cooking. And honestly,
there's your college.
I mean, I'm forever grateful to those guys, honestly, because without them, I definitely wouldn't still be doing this.
They still in the game that you know of?
One of them is.
Okay.
The other one is now, like, he owns his own plumbing company in Arizona, and he flies, like, these crazy things with they got, like, an engine on them and a parachute. I don't know what they're called, paraglider or something.
Oh, yeah.
Big thing out in Arizona because, there's no, like, trees, so it's just desert, big sky, not a lot of rain.
That's crazy.
He always liked heights. He was always, like, skydiving and stuff back when I knew him. That was not my thing.
Out.
But that man taught me a lot about cooking and just a lot about living, and they were good people, too. So we did our fair share of things, but also, they taught me how to be respectful.
At the Wooden Spoon in Gentry, Cam and Jane Clausen talk about selling and transferring ownership of the establishment to Justin and Emily Allen after 19 years of owning and building it up.
Well, I'll never forget. I still get kind of emotional.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to. Now, so I mentioned it to Justin, And sorry,
you're good.
Justin goes, "Wow, if I remember correctly, you said that you had been talking about something like that."
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know how seriously, but anyway, he said, "Well, we're going to go home and pray about it." And he said, "Because you would trust that to us, it makes me cry." And he started crying.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, we're both emotional guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You guys are going to make me take my glasses off here a little bit. Keep going. I'm not here.
Yeah. Then, I think it was the next day, he called and he said, "Yeah, we think we want to do this."
Had you guys ever had any restaurant experience at all?
Not a single day. Besides eating in a lot of restaurants. We still do that too. Yes.
Yeah, none.
Zero. What was the... tell me about the learning curve, and I'm assuming you all trained them along the way. How much time? What was the learning curve of that? Oh, gosh, the laughter started again. This is great. I'm just going to sit back and let you guys tell the story. It's great.
Oh, goodness. Extreme learning curve. We didn't know how to make anything. None of the recipes. We didn't know. Let's be clear. We know how to cook. Like, we cook in our family, and this is a family style of cooking. So we were comfortable with knowing how to fry food and make things, but never in a massive quantities that you make in a restaurant. We didn't know how that worked. We didn't know how a commercial kitchen worked.
And a restaurant this size.
Right, a restaurant this size with a reputation this size. For me, it was more like I have just got this diamond of a gem that I cannot screw up.
Yeah.
You know, the community's depending on me. The closets are depending on me to make sure I don't screw this up. And we just felt a ton of pressure to figure it out. And the learning curve is still there. Like, there's still so much I don't know about how to run a restaurant. You would think I could tell you what that plate cost me. I can't do it. Like, 4 years into it, you know, I'm still trying to figure all those details out, because there's just, you have to focus on the customer first and worry about all the operational things you always tell yourself you're going to get to and make better or get better at. And I don't have time in the day to do all that for many reasons.
Yeah, many reasons indeed. And you were maintaining a full-time job at the time. Tell me about that.
I still do.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah, so
there you go.
I'm a vice president of sales for a local company selling product to Walmart, and that's my full-time gig. That's how we make money, because kind of like they were saying, not making a lot of money off the restaurant. We're not there yet.
You don't sleep is what you're telling me.
It's a lot of sleepless nights, yes.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I wasn't prepared for as a business owner that you go through. Can I make payroll this pay period? It's January. We've had 2 snow days this week, and how are we gonna manage to pay the bills? And those are things I've had to live that I didn't see coming. I don't know why, I just didn't. And it's a lot of great learning for me, and it's a lot of great learning for us as a couple, and our kids have gone through this journey with us, and it's been pretty incredible.
Owner and executive chef Inget Rianto of Minya Kitakara in downtown Springdale got some visitors late last year that absolutely blew his mind.
So we got Ipudo folks, which is one of the top ramen. That's one chain that actually helped inspire me.
That's great. Did you know they were coming?
They give me a heads up.
Okay, good.
So it's actually
That's kind of them.
Yeah, they were here for like an event with Bento Phil.
Sure.
Yeah. So
Sure.
they just ended up like, hey, we just want to come in and eat at your place, and then we'll check out the operation in my kitchen as well. So
it's great.
Yeah. It was a great visit. So I'm very, very thankful. So.
There are very few things better than that, especially when it's a successful visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are grateful.
In his brewing days, New Province owner John Lee became known for making unique, out-of-the-box beers. He talks about that in depth here, along with his beer background.
It's probably Wayne Wombles of a Scar City Brewing out of Tampa. So I used to listen to a lot of, I say they were podcasts. I was more on, they were barely podcasts back then. Yeah, they were streams back then.
Yeah.
And he was doing some things that were definitely like, I remember he was saying that, fruit and IPA was going to be the next big thing. And this is like back in like 2009 or something like that. But before it hit, he knew it, right? And so that really kind of pushed the envelope for me to like try new things and build beers that, I've always prided myself on my recipe building skills.
Okay.
And I think that's where, what I'm good at. And so I'm able to use different grains and different ingredients to kind of create something completely different.
Sure.
And that's, I don't know, it's just fun. It's like a chef. You know, you have so much to work with, you know, and putting something together that makes people interested and you know, people excited about what you're doing.
I would think that would be, you would probably, and this would probably be for anybody doing this, the outside the box, there's got to be some glorious fails of something where you think would be awesome, and then something counterbalances it, and you're all of a sudden, well, it didn't quite work.
Well, that's what always drove me, though. I loved, you know, coming up with I say picture in my mind of what this beer is going to taste like, you know, what the body's going to be like, and then the challenge is, can I get close? Or can I hit it even better?
Yeah.
You know, and so that's like, even if you fail, you know which direction to go next time. Sometimes, it's a wash, and you're just like, we're not going to try that again.
But it's the best way to learn.
That's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
And again, back to, I mean, I think it's just like being in a kitchen. You know? I mean, just in a kitchen, the results are a lot quicker. You know?
True.
You know,
this is true.
But again, if you kind of know what you're doing, I mean, it's the same thing. It's baking a cake. I mean, it really is.
So what was your first professional step into beer?
Well, I mean, it really came, you know, after hundreds of home brews.
Yeah.
And then deciding that I wanted to start my own brewery.
So you didn't intern anywhere? You didn't have a job anywhere, kind of learning? You just decided, to hell with it, we're going.
No, I really learned brewing on forums. That was a thing back in the day, you know. That's where I learned. You know, now it's YouTube, but you know,
it sure is.
No, it was all on chat forums.
Yeah,
and that's where I learned to brew from guys that, you know, had been doing it for years. You know, like homebrew clubs and whatnot.
Yeah,
I never was part of a club, but probably should have been. Probably would have helped me along. But regardless, I mean, and no, I didn't have any professional experience per se, but it just took the homebrew knowledge that I had and then scaled it up. So I started, just out of the blue, I came up with Rebel Kettle Brewing Company.
And away you go.
And created a Facebook page, and then people started following. I mean, it took 4 years, but we were eventually able to open in 2016, and from there, you know, I mean, you know, we had a good 4-year rep.
Other breweries stepped up and helped Bill Adams launch a Goat Lab brewery after an unfortunate episode that left him in a bind. Once up and going, Goat Lab could only offer one thing in return for those that helped: space.
We had hired a brewmaster that got started on everything, and you know, our equipment didn't show up. It was lost somewhere in China, and then we were extorted for an extra $10,000 to $15,000 just to get it shipped over here.
No,
even though we'd already paid for it in advance, they said, "Well, if you really want it, it's going to cost you another $15,000."
It's the most mafioso, crappy thing.
I know, it was horrible. But then we bought a smaller system, a 5-barrel system, before we got the big tin in, and the brewer had 3 5-barrel batches in the hopper, and while I was away, just decided he didn't like it and dumped all 15 barrels.
Oh no!
Which put us way behind, and so we dumped him because he didn't ask anyone, didn't show anybody. I think he was just, he might just not have had it tuned in correctly.
Understood.
Period. So basically hiding a little bit of stuff. And they're like, all right, well, we let him go.
Yeah.
And so now here we were, 45 days out, and we still had to brew beer.
No.
I've been brewing for 20 years.
Just home brewing, though, right?
Just home brewing, right. And so I leaned on my friends who own breweries, like Natural State, Fossil Cove, Ozark. All these guys, I called them and said, hey, we're in a little bit of a bind here. And I said, can you help me out with the bigger systems? I understand recipes, understand how to cook the beer, how to ferment the beer, how to bright the beer, but I've never done it on a larger scale like that. So they jumped in. They said, yeah, absolutely. Just who's going to brew for you? And my son had just graduated college, and I said, hey, I've got an idea. So he came in and said, I guess I'm taking over the family business.
Wow.
Well, okay, let's do it. So we sent him to go get educated at the 3 other breweries, and they were very nice about.
And that was in Germany, correct?
No, it was here.
Oh, okay.
No, that was here. Yeah.
Okay.
So we had just, like I said, 30 days prior to, so we were able to make some beer, but we didn't have near enough for all of our taps.
Sure.
So we leaned on those same 3 breweries to sell us some beer.
That's great.
And so they did. They sold us some beer. We didn't market it as ours. We marketed it as theirs.
Of course.
But we were able to open And during that time frame, just learn. And I'll admit, my son is he's one of the fastest learners I've ever met, and
That's great.
And he's doing a good job teaching. Now, if we find some people that can learn, it'd be great. But no, so my son's been brewing ever since for now what 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And he now comes up with all of his own recipes. He reads constantly.
Yeah.
We have books upon books back there on how to make the perfect beer, how to make the perfect porter, and things of that nature.
Sure.
So he's now starting to experiment in the lab, as we call it.
So back to your the point of everyone coming to help from the other breweries. I love that about the breweries here in Northwest Arkansas. Everybody helps everybody, and I know that's a popular thing to do around the U.S., but it doesn't happen everywhere.
No, not at all. And so we have a an asset here that most breweries in Northwest Arkansas don't have.
What's that?
Space.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's very true.
And so, as my way of saying thank you to those who helped us, it's like, guys, I have all this space. One of the most expensive things that we all do is canning, and they don't have the space to order a full truckload of cans. So they have to order cases or a pallet. And when you order just one pallet, the price quadruples.
Yeah.
So I said, guys, why don't we just order a full truckload? I'll pay for it. We'll store it here, and you guys come get it as you need it, and just pay for it as you need it. So it cut their cost down by 3/4, and they're now able to compete in the marketplace with all the big boys.
Boca Executive Chef and General Manager John Harpool talks about becoming a chef while a student at the U of A, but why cooking, and how did he learn?
Followed a pretty typical trajectory for a Little Rock kid. Came up to Fayetteville to go to the U of A.
Sure.
Got my degree in English. Really by about my junior year, I knew that there was probably not going to be much use out of that. And so over my time in college, just cooking just became an obsessive hobby that just kind of continued to grow.
So explain that. I mean, would it be like Friday night, everyone comes to John's place?
Yeah, I was kind of like the ultimate frat boy chef, like cooked for tailgates, constantly having people strongly suggest that I make certain things, and then a group of people would be over. Really that junior year of college when I finally was living off campus in a house and had a kitchen, it kind of just blew up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't uncommon for a group of people to be over for food.
So where did you learn how to cook though?
I mean, growing up, like we did have home cooked meals. Didn't eat out very much at all. Came from a big family. I was one of 5 kids.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
Eating out was a pretty rare thing, unless it was something cheap and fast. So like, I guess the skills were always there because we kind of had to fend for ourselves to a degree.
Okay.
With both parents working and there being a lot of us. So
gotcha.
From a young age, I could always, fry an egg and cook a burger and simple stuff like that.
Sure.
But yeah, it was really the summer after my freshman year of college. I went back for one summer in Little Rock, and I had like 4 or 5 weeks before my summer job started, and it was just my mom and my little sister in the house at the time. And I asked them what they were thinking for dinner, and they told me that with the two of them, they might bake a potato or fry an egg and kind of just call it dinner. And after a year of eating cafeteria food, it wasn't working for me.
Sure.
So I just started planning all these extravagant meals that at the time I had no idea what I was doing. I was looking up recipes and trying and failing at different things. So for those first 4 or 5 weeks, I just made dinner every night and started to really, really enjoy it.
So, I mean, were you looking for recipes online and then going shopping, or how did this work? Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. It's every day I'd decide something new that we were going to do that day, and then my mom lives right down the street from a Kroger's food store.
Sure.
So just pop over there and grab what I need and have at it. Was making my own pasta from scratch, grilling and smoking things, trying my hand at pizza, which I didn't know would come in handy later.
Right.
But, just stuff that was way above my previous cooking experiences. But I mean, worst thing I could do is suck at it the first try.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, everybody sucks at everything first try usually. So I hear you.
Yeah.
So where did that take you? I mean, is that the summer you decided, okay, this is what I'm going to end up doing?
It was kind of solidified when I got back to school. And then really that junior year, having a house with a kitchen and being able to go back to making all my meals again.
Yeah. I bet you had people banging down your door to be your roommate at that point.
Yeah, kind of. There was, we groceries would constantly go missing from the fridge. Let's just say that. But
I hear you. Let's go. Kyle Alexander talks about the history of R.G. Macon and Carson Apple Brandy, which he's helping to revive from its death during Prohibition. It was in downtown Bentonville and became the largest apple brandy distillery west of the Mississippi.
We found out about it from a group of older gentlemen, and I was having breakfast with them, and they basically asked me, hey, we were talking about bourbon, and they said, do you know there was a huge distillery in downtown Bentonville before Prohibition? I said, I had no idea. And we started talking about it, and one of the gentlemen took me down to the ruins of that old distillery because it was not on sequestered land as it is now.
Okay.
And we looked at it, and it's just concrete, a pad, and some rock formations, some brick and things like that.
Sure.
And he told me this story, and I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody should do something to preserve part of our culinary history, and certainly the history of our spirit, our native spirit, which is apple brandy for Arkansas.
Sure.
Because it was in downtown Bentonville, 200 yards from the courthouse annex. That's crazy.
That is insane.
Yeah. It's a great story, though, and that started the whole journey. And short version of that story is I learned that piece of information, and then we went down to the Shiloh History Museum, and I had the curator and the researchers help me out and dig up a bunch of information on it. I read through the piles of information. They were so generous.
That's great.
And I said, you know what? Somebody's going to have to save this brand because it had been defunct since Prohibition in 1914. We'll talk about that later, but I was like, this is worth saving. This is part of our culinary history, and I don't know how many people even know about it.
Culinary and cultural, and I think, if you didn't know about it, not many people did outside of the older generation, those guys and maybe their group.
That's right.
And their families, the families of R.G. Macon and Carson.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's insane. Well, something I didn't know until I went to your website and started my early research. Benton County, back in the day, was it turn of the century, led the nation in apple production.
That is correct. And we had some very unique apple varietals that were indigenous to this part of the state and part of the region.
You bet.
The Arkansas Black Apple is well known because it didn't need refrigeration. It could last 2, 3, 6 months, depending on how it was set up before it was shipped. So before refrigeration, it was an easy apple to ship. You had the Ben Davis. And, of course, there's a little place in Bentonville called Brightwater, Brightwater Institute. That's also another local apple.
You bet.
So there's quite a few of them. But, yeah, it was the largest area for apple production, fresh produce, in the nation for quite a while, really probably until the early to mid-1930s. And we even had Welch's apple juice factory here and some other things.
You bet.
So we had apple cider and, of course, apple brandy. Because the farmers had to use their second fruits, their rollers, their grounders, or whatever for something, right? They couldn't sell it first fruit, so had to have another use for it.
Yeah, that's crazy. 5 million bushels annually back then.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't sound like a lot right now because we have automatic equipment.
Right.
And electricity and all the things.
Right.
Can you imagine doing that by hand?
By hand, by donkey, by horse, by whatever they had, right? I mean, and you think about it, Washington and Benton County together represented the largest apple production area in the nation.
Yeah.
And a big reason why the railroad came to Rogers and then later to Bentonville was because of the apple.
Yeah.
We used to have these huge apple festivals and all the major cities around here.
You bet.
Because that was the nexus of our economy. So before there was, big chicken, big trucking, or big box, there was Big Apple and, of course, Big Brandy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And listen, not far away in Tonatown, Big Grape.
That's right.
Gigantic
Another
grape.
reason Welch's was here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's just crazy. So Macon and Carson apple brandy at its peak, 600 gallons a day.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, 200,000 gallons a year roughly out by rail out of a dry county, 200 yards from the courthouse annex in downtown
It's the
Bentonville.
dry county part that just gets me every time,
Yeah,
right?
That's right. They couldn't sell a drop of it. They weren't supposed to drink any of it.
Right.
And it had to go out by rail. Thus, one of the reasons the rail spur came to Bentonville was to haul all of that brandy out of Bentonville.
Insane.
So it went all over the country and in many cases across the ocean. So,
wow.
It's just an amazing story.
Nando Chang of Itme Ao in Miami won the James Beard Award for the Best Chef of the South. He was one of 5 finalists that also included Conifer's Matt Cooper and Yayo's Rafael Rios. Yes, 2 of the 5 finalists were from Bentonville. What was it like individually for each guy to hear his name mentioned as a finalist in the category?
It just allowed me to finally, after 5 years of nominations, truly get into the believing really truly deep in my heart that there's so much that we're doing that impacts our community. So it's just I think I finally for the first time believed that this was happening. I mean it kind of happens every time I get nominated, or I have been nominated, but being a nominee, a finalist along with Chef Cooper, it just tells me that I need to go back to my team right away and tell them, look, we're all doing fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's all because of you guys. And it's just it automatically makes me think of my family, dad, mom, wife, kids, all the stuff, and just a sense of huge pride.
Yeah.
And, being along this guy right here, it's just a confirmation of the great job we're doing, because I know he's doing an amazing job. So
of course he is. Yeah.
I think I kind of rivaled the same thing. I think that the first nomination was one of, I think the first time it happens you're like, oh, okay, that's we're doing some things. And then I think the only way that Raphael and I differ, and I don't think it's a difference, I think that the second nomination came in and we were great, and I was like, okay, I kind of expected both of us to be on that list, because we're continuing to do the good work, and I think if you're continuing that focus, I think it kind of there's different layers of how that kind of goes. And then but definitely when I had forgotten about the finalist list and I just kind of written it off, and then I got a call, and that's the way it normally works, because we both work like crazy, and we're not, and I don't know about you, but like I'm not waiting for the list, right? I try not to think about things like that. And then it came through and I was like, okay. And it didn't really set in just like the nomination for me at all. It takes me a little bit longer to process things, and I kind of processed it, and it was the same thing. It was more of the gratitude, and I kind of waited for a few minutes before I talked to my restaurant family, and I just kind of, this kind of mirrors the same thing. I was just like, hey, listen, if anything, what this means is that I just want to thank all of you for believing in the vision that we have for this community and this restaurant, and what we want are hospitality and a sustainable business and restaurant, and like the culture that we're trying to build, and having that recognized by a national organization that focuses on all those aspects is really, really beautiful. And so I think it was just this gratefulness for the amazing people that have chosen to share their lives with me, like every day. And I think that's kind of what I still take away with them, like with the finalists. Like it's like it doesn't matter. Like I kind of stepped back for a second, and when I had time to think about it, I was like, I was really honored to be next to him, because he is he's my oldest friend here, I think, and we've been wanting to do the same work for a long time. He's been doing it for a while, and like now we're doing it here with Ren, and I think it's been just really beneficial, and so I think it was really beautiful. And there is a sense of pride knowing that, like, finally, like, people are starting to look at this little state and change the norms of what people think and their views, and understand that, like, no, there are really good people doing really good work, good humanitarian work, that are building great cultures, providing livable wages, doing all these things in hospitality and changing hospitality on a micro level that other people are not doing. And, if we can be, confident about some things, that's what we're going to be confident about, is that we are changing what hospitality looks like in the South. We're changing, what that culture looks like and what a good culture can look like, and livable wages, and like Raphael's the only person that, him and his brothers own the place. Like, I'm the only person that owns Conifer, and then I have, one amazing partner in Ren, and, Paul Esterer. But we all share that vision, and I think it's really important.
Yeah. So, what is the James Beard process like for those that don't know? I assume they send someone from the organization in, I would say in disguise, but there's no Groucho glasses and mustaches or anything like that. They just come in and they get served and go through the process, I assume, right?
I mean, I would say that there might be other people in the industry that have been doing it for such a long time that they know when people come in. They might. I don't think that's true, but it could be. There's always like layers. But at least from our standpoint, we had no idea. You don't know when they come in. They're private reviewers. They come in and review you. Then it goes back to a panel. They talk about it. They make that list, and then those people become semifinalists. 15 become semifinalists. Mm-hmm. And then what happens after that is, once the semifinalists are announced, then they come back within the next month or so, and they do it again, and they review those, and they kind of narrow the list to the nominees or to the finalists, and then they come back after that again before the award ceremony and review you again, and they make their decision, and then those finalists go
and confirm
who's going to be the winner.
As a restaurateur or as a nominee,
you're just like, they're coming in at any time.
You just have to prepare your staff yourself, and mentally, really, because you should always be prepared for a good service. But it's there's a little bit of pressure there, if you will, just to know that you're on that list, that you made the nominee list, the final.
Sure.
Then you're like, you're trying to nitpick every little thing at the restaurant, almost becoming not obsessive, but like you're looking at every detail, every little thing, because you want this at this point,
Absolutely, I totally get it.
I kind of do the opposite. Like, I just step back and go, listen, like,
I need you all to fail.
Well, I can't control everything, and I have control. As chefs, we have control issues all the time anyway, and that's definitely something that's in our brains, and I think it's probably more in my staff's brain than mine, because I know that if I go there, I don't. So I'm just like, look, we're always trying to do the base level of good for ourselves and for this community and what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And as long as we stick to those guns and keep that, like, then anything that follows, it doesn't matter. We're proud. But it's absolutely, there's that, like, you have one night or you have one person that's not happy, and you're like, I could have been there.
Dot's Hot Chicken started as a very popular Fayetteville food truck. Where did that food truck come from? Owner Russell Ingram has a funny story about getting it to Northwest Arkansas.
I was looking at food trucks and kind of the process it would take to get something already done, change everything out. But then I found a company in Texas that could just do a custom build for you.
Nice.
And I ended up buying a truck, and they had it shipped out to their little place that they built them out. So a few months later, they had it ready. I flew down to Texas, stayed at my uncle's, because he lives about an hour from Houston.
Okay.
And drove the truck back, which was one of the most terrifying experiences I ever had in my life.
So you're not used to big trucks, is what you're saying?
Well, it was big, and the alignment was off.
Oh no!
And so if he got over 55 miles an hour, the steering wheel just shook really bad.
Oh no! You needed a massage when you got
back.
So
tried driving that through Dallas.
No.
During rush hour.
No. I'm from Dallas, and I can tell you that's not a good proposition. Oh my gosh. Seth McDaniel had opened one of the first Growler USA locations in the United States in Rogers. After COVID, he decided to go independent, and it took forever. Once it happened, the rest of the franchisees got off the hook easy.
I realized this whole franchise business sucks. I don't like being part of it. I've been independent, Seth Consulting. I got my name in the freaking company.
Right.
I like being independent.
Yeah.
I didn't like royalties and sending money away and stuff because I felt like we were doing all the work. Like they weren't providing a whole lot of help.
Right.
The return on investment just didn't seem great.
Yeah.
So we were one of the top performing locations.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, they had, I think, 15 or 16
Okay.
Growler USAs around the country.
Yeah.
And we were always amongst the top. So I was getting very discouraged with that whole with them.
Sure.
I wasn't getting a whole lot of help.
Yeah.
Like I said, they were still focusing on turning this into like a huge franchise company. They thought if they build more locations and everything would win.
Well, you just weren't getting your investment.
Yeah.
At that point.
I had made friendships with a lot of the other restaurant franchise owners,
Sure.
and man, they were having a much harder time.
Oh gosh.
Because a lot of them didn't do due diligence. They didn't know anything about craft beer.
Oh boy.
They just literally said, "Okay, here's a turnkey package. Turn it on, and it should work." It didn't. I was like, "Guys, you got to know what beer works. You got to know.
Right.
You got to be enthusiastic about this beer. This beer that's what brings people in. They stay for the food.
Got to make
they
it
come
your
back
life.
For the food. Like you got to be. I went to locations, and I would still travel around. I went to locations, and they would have like 100 taps, but 20 of them would be empty. They're like, we don't. The only thing that sells is Miller Lite or something. I was like, well, we don't sell Miller Lite. Like, for our business model from day one, and I still kind of stand by. We don't. We purposely don't sell the national, like, domestic easy beers. I call them easy beers because, yes, they're easy to drink and they're terrific. But I want to push the customer's envelope. I want them to try something that's local.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee you Lost 40's second rodeo is better than any of the local light, the domestic light beers. I'm sorry, the
domestic,
Miller
the big
Lights
ones.
or something.
Yeah.
So it's like we're selling a story. We're selling the brewery. Mm-hmm. We're selling the local.
Absolutely.
And it's a better product.
Yeah.
Arkansas rice. I mean, it's like we got to push that story.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the other locations didn't know. They didn't even care about any of that. Yeah. They were just like, we want to open a restaurant. Here's money. Boom. And they had a restaurant.
Make it happen.
So a lot of people were in a lot of pain. And so I kind of formed a group of people, other restaurant owners, and we started talking to other people, all the other restaurant owners, and realized we're all in the same boat. Like this is running us. This is still pre-COVID.
Okay.
This is still pre-COVID.
Okay.
And so we had some. So we were able to legally fight our way out of the franchise.
Okay. Like you and the whole group?
Yes.
Okay.
Like mainly me and 2 or 3 of the other owners were like the heads of this.
Okay.
It was a battle for about a year.
Okay.
Of legal back and forth. But once March of 2020 hit, COVID hit, and everything was shutting down, the franchisors, they were like, okay, we'll sign your agreement to get out. So I signed some terms to buy out of the franchise, and they. I signed it, notarized it, shipped it off, and then about 3 hours later, they sent the same contract but with much better buyout terms.
Oh no!
To every other franchisee.
Oh no!
And then so basically that day, the whole company dissolved.
Oh wow! Okay. You just got stuck with the worst terms, I guess.
But you know what? Had I not done it, someone had to do it.
Yeah. Understood.
And it's the best thing I ever did.
That's great.
I have much appreciation for everyone that helped me build
it up,
build it here.
get it started. You bet.
At the end of the day, it's business.
Elliot Hunt of Atlas, the restaurant in Fayetteville, is from Fayetteville, but has cooked all over the world, including France, Ecuador, and Australia, just to name a few. He talks about what got him hooked on cooking.
It happened by accident. I wrecked my cousin's truck at 14 or 15 years old.
Okay.
And I had to pay for the repairs on that truck.
Oh, no.
And, I was 14, 15. I was mowing a bunch of lawns in the neighborhood. I grew up in the historic district. So one of the people that I mowed their lawn owned a small little Cajun bakery, Creole. It was called Morning Glories. And I asked them if I could start washing dishes in their restaurant on the weekends. And they said yes. And
wow.
And it was two sisters, Patty and Penny, and their brother Todd. And they were awesome. They treated me like I was their surrogate son.
It's the best.
It was great. And I worked there all through high school, from 14, 15 years old until I graduated at 18. I just fell in love with being in a kitchen.
Yeah.
And they were starting to teach me how to cook some things, and I love the camaraderie of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just I couldn't imagine. I'm ADD enough that I needed to move my hands, you know, and I love the work. I like the work, and yeah, I was hooked.
Owners John and Andrea Allen have made Onyx Coffee into a nationally heralded brand. Their name Onyx certainly stands out, and I asked Andrea where it came from.
Great question. So, as much as I like to stay the same, and my first answer was that I wanted to keep everything the same.
Sure.
John was still playing music and traveling all over the country and actually all over the world, and he would come home and say, there is some really cool stuff going on in coffee.
Yeah.
We are not doing it. You need to look at these things. We need to talk about these things. And I, very resistant to change. And so I was like, why would we ever change anything? Everything's great. We're doing a great job. Everything's the same. Everything's exactly the same,
Right.
But over time, I kind of saw some of that. And what we were seeing is roasters buying directly from farmers.
Yeah.
We saw cafes doing pour-overs of single origin coffees and roasting them in a way where you could taste what the potential of the coffee was as opposed to the flavor of the roaster.
Mm-hmm.
We just saw people really getting into the art and science of coffee.
Okay.
And so it was at that point that we were kind of like, okay, we could join this specialty coffee movement. We could kind of push into that. There wasn't really any of that happening here in Northwest Arkansas.
Sure. Yeah.
And it felt like as we began to work through that process that the identity of what we were doing was changing.
Yeah.
And that's where we decided, you know what, we're going to really go out on our own and rebrand the company, and we're going to rip off the Band-Aid, and we're going to say, we're going to serve the world's greatest coffee.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. The name Onyx, so Onyx is the only transparent stone.
Okay.
And a lot of our brand identity is built on transparency, which traditionally takes the form of we publish all of the trade data from the coffee we purchase, from the producer that grew the coffee, what we scored it at, what we bought it at, what we paid the logistics company to bring it in, and we were the first coffee company in the world to do that in real time.
Wow.
But yeah, Onyx felt like it represented this sort of strong, solid symbol, but that was also transparent.
Yeah.
And it also looks nice to write it from a design standpoint.
Okay.
So it's multiple fold.
Saeed Luis and Casey Mayorga are the owners of Casa Alejo. The Mayorgas grew up working in the family restaurant in Searcy and talk here about the obstacles in opening their first spot in Northwest Arkansas in downtown Springdale. Oh, Casey, love it. I can always tell a story is coming when she starts laughing. That's great.
We had no staff.
We had no staff on top of that. And I felt awful because 2 weeks before we opened, they closed the road in front of us for renovation.
Yeah.
That was awful.
And I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. And I was like, oh my God, I dropped the ball. I should have known this. Like,
they should have reached out to you.
I felt awful. And they had a meeting like the next day or something, like a meeting with all the business owners.
Yeah.
At Box, right next door. I'm like, I'm just gonna go and kind of like figure this out.
Yeah.
So I get there, and mind you, it wasn't great, but like nobody else knew either.
Oh,
so
boy.
I was like, okay, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But it's still bad.
Sure. Yeah. So how did you survive that? Because that's how you opened, right?
Yeah.
How do you survive something like that?
We opened with no road, bare bone staff, no liquor license.
No liquor license.
Oh,
that was taking forever.
Yeah, that was such a process. And like literally, we had girls around the same time. We both had brand new babies, and so like Louise has how old was Melanie back then? She's 10.
What
now?
year was it?
It was 2022.
2022?
Yeah, she
3
was
years ago.
7. Yeah. So 7-year-old and then a newborn, and then we had a newborn because both our youngest, like our only, and then his current youngest. We got another one coming.
So at this time, you're still going back and forth from Cersei
Yep.
too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, but
Jeez.
I'm in Northwest Arkansas more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
All
we
right.
didn't have staff.
Because you have to train.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the kitchen. That's where I was, in the
Oh.
kitchen and everything. So.
Well, and
So,
everything was brand new because, like
Yeah.
I said, we were used to like a big menu, big
Sure.
restaurant, big kitchen.
Sure.
So we had to kind of like
Gotta trim it
adapt.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I had-
and we
I
were
had-
only open till 3 for the first month.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to work in a smaller kitchen.
Yeah. Especially.
Yeah, so that was the biggest thing, like learning how to cook everything that we need.
Yeah.
And accommodate everything with a smaller kitchen, the smaller cooler. So it was.
You
got
got to be so efficient.
Yeah.
Yes.
We caught up with Chef William Mock at Bistro 16 in downtown Springdale in late August to get the lowdown on his flip from Bienvenue to Bistro 16. For those of you that like the behind-the-scenes restaurant strategy, this one's for you.
I believe that this location will be better suited for a place that's more casual.
Okay.
And so Bienvenue, we've stayed at a high level for the last couple years, and I would like it to be more approachable for our guests that's here.
Okay.
I've had guests that would tell me, they're like, oh yeah, we wanted to come in the other night and we were wearing shorts, and
Yeah.
like, I don't care if you're wearing shorts, but
Sure.
clearly they don't feel comfortable in doing it, right? So I think that to be able to provide something a little more approachable, and maybe a lot more of the community can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, Bistro 16.
So yeah, it's still French.
Yeah.
It's just so we're on mile marker 16.
Sure.
And the important part is that people know that we will be a bistro, which is a lot more casual dining. It's elevated. Our food's still delicious and nice, but some of the cuts will be a little bit different. Like, instead of the elk, we might have like a pork shoulder or something like that. Yeah. And so we're doing some interior adjustments. Just one, tried to lighten it up, to set it to where it's a little bit quicker, so we can turn it a little bit quicker,
Okay.
and deliver the food a little bit faster.
Yeah. How did you land on Bistro? I mean, was that it out of the gates? Did you even ponder anything else, or was that kind of keeping the French theme, if you will?
Well, so Bienvenue, we've always, or Bienvenue Hospitality, the company, we've always wanted more than one location.
Sure.
Right? And so we thought about just moving, but we didn't want to just move and leave the location that we invested so much money into.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I think the bistro was always going to happen. Instead of finding a new location and creating a bistro, we figured we'd rather create the bistro here and find a new location for Bienvenue.
Yeah. I kind of want to revisit something you said earlier. A 5 to 6 day flip. Do you have an army here helping you do this, or?
Well, I mean, if we're not open, we don't have anything else to do, right? So there's a lot of hours.
Maybe not them, but you.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of hours in a day, and
Sure.
so the flip is it's very calculated. I mean, we might have if the signage comes in the way it's supposed to come in, then it should be quickly. Everything in Bienvenue that. So like our crystal water glasses and some of our art and whatnot and some of our furniture, those will be leaving, and so everything has to be listed and labeled and calculated, wrapped up very carefully, so we can use them at our new location.
Just go in the backyard shed, or
not quite, but I think but my backyard shed is full because we had to make room for the stuff.
Okay, great. All right, good to know. So, what kind of feedback have you gotten on this?
All positive.
Okay.
I mean, even from my closest friends, which would literally tell me like,
Sure.
yeah, that's a stupid idea.
Sure. Yeah.
All of them seem to think this is a very good maneuver.
Yeah.
Like it or not, the economy. I mean, whatever side of the aisle you find yourself on. The economy's not doing well.
No,
and I don't know about other people's industries.
Sure.
But the restaurant industry is not doing very hot.
It's tough.
Yeah, year over last year to this year, it has gone down. And so even with I've talked to all my peers about it, all my vendors, and they're all like, yeah, we're not doing so hot.
Yeah.
And so in order to make those kind of changes that we would have to make to still be profitable, we can't justify the type of price tag that Bienvenue has to have.
Yeah.
The team that Bienvenue has to have. We have ironed linen on all of our tables. We have
except for this one, you might have to redo this one.
We'll end up redoing this one. Crystal water glasses. My wine list, I have Grand Cru Burgundies and Bordeaux's, which are stunning.
Oh, I know.
But it's pushed all the other, modestly priced wines out of it.
Sure.
And so in order, I just want to make the restaurant more approachable for people that are, if they're having tough times, then it's time to adjust with the times.
No question. And by the way, this is not goodbye for Bienvenue.
No. We're moving Bienvenue.
Yeah. Okay. Where are you looking? Because I know you've not really had time because you got 18 things going on right now.
Yeah, I won't have time until another few months because it's just there is a lot of shit going on with right now.
Right.
It's all positive. I don't have any like negative issues.
Sure.
It's just I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
And so we are looking at West Rogers, Cave Springs, or South Bentonville.
Okay. All right. Very specific.
Yeah.
Bentonville Brewing Company co-owner Katie Boykin talks about how they were able to keep their staff employed during COVID. They got really creative.
This thing that we've been hearing about February and worrying about is now so real that no one is, like, everyone's supposed to stay home if they can. It was so...
It's just depressing.
I don't even know how to put into words.
Anticlimactic. Yeah.
I know, and not just like that for us, because...
Like a true buzzkill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it wasn't so much about like, oh my God, we can't open the tap room, because the brewery was a manufacturing facility and we could still make the beer, even though we were concerned. Like, everyone was concerned. No one knew what that was going to look like. Yeah. But we had 12 people on staff in the tap room that we had hired who had cleared their schedule and were depending on us for an income.
Oh, yeah.
And you could, I don't even think, this had to have been way before PPP was even a thing.
Right.
And all those grants. But, even if we were to apply for something like that, it would have all been based on the numbers from the last 3 years that we were in Rogers, where we had a completely different business model. And so it wouldn't have done our staff any good to even try. But what I thought was very interesting was that our sales just to go out the door, like call it in, put it in online, and we like walk it out to your car with a mask and do contactless payment. Those were better than our taproom sales in Rogers.
No kidding.
Wow. So we would have one, the taproom manager at the time would work here and be available for those sales, car side sales. And then we really spent a lot more than you probably need to time, like making silly social media videos.
Well, you have the time, right?
I know, we had all the time.
Right.
And then also there was like some parts of the contract, like the cleaning contract or the construction contract, where they were still wrapping up cleaning. And we had made the offer to Olkey, who was the contractor who did this job, say, hey, can we do that for you? Because we need to pay these people something, and they have time, and they need to do something.
Brilliant.
So we had taproom people, our taproom attendants and beer tenders were like on the roof cleaning all the like construction dust off, and they were tidying up and making dump runs and, you know, doing landscaping and doing things that were just outside of the box that, because we moved, we were able to pay them to do, like wrap up the other location, break things down, take things to the dump, clean that spot. So we all were janitors and social media influencers for a short time.
That's great. Former University of Arkansas football defensive tackle Cam Ball's also a pitmaster. We talked to him about his barbecue plans for the future and shoot some rapid-fire questions his way. I want to kick it off with how you got into barbecue.
Okay.
What led you in that path?
Man, you know, just growing up with my dad, he was a barbecue caterer. I used to tag along with him every now and then to some of his little gigs. He'll pay me $20 or so to help him load and unload his grills on his truck. And, you know, just my curiosity grew even more when I started to grow up and tagging along with him in his events as well. And I started from me loading the grills to want to know the amount of charcoal to put in the grill, to how to season the meat, how to cook the meat. And, you know, just I love to eat. So I fell in love with it, just grilling on my own. And being off in college, I got tired of eating out every day. So I wanted to experiment with that.
How's it been?
It's been good, man. You know, part of the reason I'm here talking to you today about it because it's been going in the right direction, man, and I'm so happy for it and I'm so glad for it. But it all started because of my father.
So you see a lot of pitmasters nowadays, and a lot of them have their thing. They've got their specialty.
Yeah.
What's your specialty?
Ribs.
Okay. All right.
Those
baby
are my
backs,
specialty.
big. What do you?
Baby back, St. Louis style cut.
Spare ribs.
Spare ribs, man, you name it. My dad used to cook country backbone, so I can dip and dab with that as well. But my main specialty is ribs.
Yeah. Do you are you a rub or a sauce guy or both?
I can do both.
Okay.
You know, I was always taught that good barbecue don't need barbecue sauce, but you know.
Well done, sir.
In some instances, it's okay to add like a little sauce for the glaze, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm open for both, but my preference, I prefer dry rub.
Yeah, I'm with you. And do you prefer, when you're putting it together, do you prefer the baby backs? Do you prefer the spare ribs? I know for me individually, it's the baby backs because it's just easier for me to handle, and I got a small grill.
Oh, man. I'll say baby backs for sure because, you know, those little, you know, rib bones, they do pack a lot of meat.
Yeah, they do.
It doesn't take that long as spare ribs to cook. So I would say baby back, but, you know, spare ribs, it's a bigger bone, and sometimes spare ribs does have a lot of meat on them as well. So if I had to pick one, baby back, but
with you.
I grew up off of spare ribs. So
I'm with you. I kind of the same way, actually, believe it or not. Tell me a little bit, is this something that you do in the off-season solely, or are you able to do it some during the season?
So I started doing it during the season.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted to shift it to doing it in the off-season. And I had the intentions and plans of going crazy this past off-season and taking off. But, you know, unfortunately, I lost my father like 2 months ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, man, appreciate it.
I'm sorry.
So that kind of like affected everything that I was going to have going. But whenever I do pick it back up, I got so much hype built up around it now that I know that whenever I do it, it's going to take off.
It's going to blow up.
Yes, sir.
That's exactly it. So are you interested in getting into like barbecue competitions?
Mm-hmm. So my favorite show to watch in my spare time is Barbecue Pitmasters.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
I would have to have a little more experience and probably have like a go-to like sous chef or someone to help me, get further down in that field. But that's something I do want to do just because I'm a competitor and, I'm a competitor. I love to eat and I love to barbecue. So those three things right there fit the category of me, and it also fit the category of all the competitions.
So you do a little catering along the way too. Tell me about that.
From time to time, I'll have either a guy or, let's say a couple weeks ago, we had the team captains like dinner. For the summer lift group, and our staff Coach Souders, he gave me like 300 pieces of chicken and asked if I can, prepare it for the guys, and I did that. I normally would use my smoker, but my smoker was giving me a rough day, so I had to go old school and put it on the charcoal grills, man.
Yeah, man.
Every now and then, I'll have a gig or an event where I have to cook for somebody, and sometimes I'll do it for free. Sometimes I'll just charge just a little
bit. Absolutely.
Yes,
so is this something that after your playing days, maybe you'd want to go to like a culinary school or something like that?
So I took a couple courses here at the U of A in the time of getting my degree. My minor is in food science. So that's something I could, pursue. I want to say the name of the culinary school up here was like NWAC or something like that.
It's Brightwater, Brightwater at NWAC.
Yeah. So I did look into that as well, but culinary school, I don't know. That's something I could be open to though.
Yeah, it's obviously a little bit different than being a pit master, but they can also play hand in hand too, for sure.
Oh, I already know.
Yeah, there you go. So is this something where down the line you think you may want to own your own barbecue place?
I talked about. So I have the name of my company is Balls Barbecue.
Oh.
It was my dad's. He had the name Balls Barbecue, but he never got it like officially licensed.
Okay.
So that's what I want to pursue after my playing career or even during my playing career. And it built so much hype that Coach Pitt was talking about investing in the barbecue business as well. So I'm going to hold him to it.
Coach Pitt's no stranger to barbecue now.
Oh, yeah. I already know.
Yeah, you know that.
Yes, sir.
Rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Favorite vegetable to make?
Lima beans.
Oh, favorite dessert?
Red velvet cake without nuts because I'm allergic to nuts.
Oh, okay. Good note. Favorite Gatorade flavor?
Blue, especially when it's cold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's up there. Favorite sandwich?
Oh, fried bologna with cheese.
Oh, I bet everybody loves to hear that.
Get all stuck in your teeth, and that's the good stuff.
What do you put in your baked potato?
In my baked potato, I put sour cream, bacon, chives, and cheese.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
All of it?
Loaded.
Okay. Charcoal or gas? That's a dumb question, but please answer.
Charcoal.
I know.
That's the real man's way to barbecue. That should be the only way.
Okay. And tell me, favorite thing to make in an air fryer?
My favorite thing to make in an air fryer. If I'm feeling lazy and I want to make like some quick chicken wings, I'll just season them both sides and just throw them in there, 375 for like 30 minutes, flip them halfway in between, and then take them out. If it's not all the way done or how I want it to be, I prop them back in for like 7 more minutes, and they're good to go.
Nice. What seasoning?
Seasoning, mainly just salt, pepper, Lowry's, all-purpose seasoning.
Sure.
Garlic powder, onion powder, and the meat tenderizer.
Oh, look at you. All right on. And finally, last question. What goes on your burger?
What goes on my burger? Let's see. Lettuce, tomato. I'm not a big ketchup guy. So mayonnaise. It depends where I'm at. Sometimes I would like avocado on my burger if I want to be on the healthy side. Sometimes I like a fried egg on my burger. Gotta throw some onions on there. Gotta throw some pickles. Like the whole shebang. Yeah. Everything but ketchup. I'm just not a big ketchup guy.
Let me show you something.
Owner Justin Melanson initially wanted it as an event space, but talks about the opportunity that he saw in downtown Siloam Springs for the Kilroy Public House and the meaning behind the name.
And there's oftentimes you've got you have an idea and then you find a location.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and here it was more of had a location and was having a conversation with Kyle, and it's like, oh, man, this would be great in Northwest Arkansas in general.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I've got this space over here. I'm super underutilizing everything, and just thinking through it. And man, I mean, since day one, whenever to like even paint the walls, we'd have the doors open and people walk in. It's just very foot traffic, hometown feeling, and that really kind of sealed the deal. Do
you kind of feel a hunger for something more of this down here?
Pun intended. Yes. Yes, we get a lot of people, and even just people that travel. Like yesterday, I was speaking to some gentlemen out front that they're here for work, and they've been here for a couple months, and they're staying out here, and they were just like, "This is such a beautiful area, but we've only eaten at like one place over and over again."
Yeah.
And so people out here, when you get that hometown feeling, I always say people like to eat and procreate, and that's really what it is out here, and there's not a lot of food, so we're ahead of the curve on that, hopefully.
I hope you're not planning on helping with the procreating or anything around here like that.
I'm done with kids.
Okay, I was kidding.
Yeah,
Just
Brandon
joking,
and I
guys.
share a
Brandon,
kid.
good.
So,
okay,
yeah.
That's
a fun
great.
story.
It is a long story. So I would love to figure out, or have you tell me the name Kilroy Public House and what that's from.
So getting into what Kilroy is. So Kilroy is, and if you're older than 15, or we can say 18 because I don't think my son knows.
Okay.
Is Kilroy is that everybody knows Kilroy was here. It was coined in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And when the soldiers were going through, and it's kind of like you've got these different groups and battalions and all of that stuff going around during World War II, how do they kind of feel together? And so they started writing Kilroy was here, and they'd have the guy with the big nose, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of like create that warm feeling.
Yeah.
And so the term means camaraderie, and being together, and that feeling, which is 100% what it is that feeling that we want to create, like the camaraderie, the experience. And as we talk about the concept, it's more, if anything, it's more focused on that feeling than it would be the food or even the drinks. We're going to have great food, we're going to have great drinks, but you want that feeling.
Mike Pearson is the owner-operator behind Rendezvous Junction Brewing Company, and his head brewer and chief operating officer is Ken Warden. And what a thing they have going on there in Rogers. They met when Ken was working at what was then Growler USA, and you could say that their relationship has blossomed over the years.
I was making the beer up at what used to be Foster's Pint and Plate next door, and we were just, it was more of a proof of concept. Could I do it? Low capital entry, making the beer and selling it by wholesale. And Seth bought everything I made. So
that's great.
So that was a regular stop for me, just to drop off beer and take back some empty kegs and sit and have lunch and shoot the bull with Ken.
You bet.
So it's kind of how it was, is we were just chatting one day. In fact, I think I was having lunch there, and we were just talking beer, and he was telling me, I'm starting to take a crack at home brewing, and so we were swapping stories a bit. And I said, well, why don't you come out the house and do a home brew batch with me? And next thing you know, I'm doing some with him, and we're just kind of just homebrew buddies.
What was the name of that first batch? What did you guys name it?
Was it one that you had already brewed?
Well, the one that I did, was How Do You Do Pale Ale?
Okay.
But the one that you were doing was a stout. You were
so I did it was just a basic 6% American stout. It came out really nice.
Okay.
We're thinking about making it again, actually.
Yeah,
it's been
really
several years since we've had it.
Yeah. Okay. No name for it or anything like that?
Well, it eventually was named All Aboard.
Okay.
But I don't know if I had a name for it at that time.
Yeah. No.
It was like, this is a stout.
That is the Please Work Stout.
Exactly.
That's great. Well, good. Okay, so we progress. Who's saying, we should start a place? How does this work?
Well, I had already started.
Okay.
And so it was whether or not I'd just
scale
up. Made it a continued, I was still working at Walmart corporate in healthcare, and I was doing the beer thing nights and weekends, and it was entertaining the idea. Beer was getting more popular and was continuing to get nudged by folks to, you need to keep doing this.
Yeah.
And after getting to know Ken a bit, I really liked him.
Yeah.
And so it was more about, you want to take a crack at brewing a commercial batch with me? And he said, yeah. And, he's a quick study.
Yeah.
He knows way more than I know about the process now, but back then it was just really fun to have, somebody that I could pour what I learned into, mistakes I made, and,
Oh, how great is that? You get to skip some mistakes thanks to him, right?
That was awesome because I made a lot of them home brewing, and then commercially it was a lot easier to get started.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Bentonville Speakeasy Callisto co-owner and beverage director Gabe Barrett talks about stumbling upon his first speakeasy, and it happened to be on his 21st birthday. He ended up getting more than drinks that night.
And I was turning 21, and my mom had given me a call for my birthday and said, hey, I'd like to take you out for your first legal beer. I said, absolutely.
You got it.
You're buying?
Bring
let's
the
go.
Card.
Yeah, let's go. That sounds
Bring
amazing.
the visa.
Love to hang out. That sounds great.
Right.
So my mom took me to a bar in Desert Ridge, which is right around the Scottsdale area.
Okay,
yeah, Scottsdale area in Arizona. And we went to a place called the Whining Pig, which was a beer bar. They had a massive selection. They must have had 40 plus beers in their selection, and we tried some awesome stuff. I was super into sour beers at the time, so that was one of the places where I could get a sour beer. And my mom also liked them too, and my dad was super into them. So it was kind of a family thing. We're like, yeah, we'll go get a sour. This is the place. My mom had found out about it. I had no idea what this was, but she takes me there. We have a few beers. We're having a great time. It's really enjoyable.
Right.
And then we're leaving. So we're getting out of there. We're leaving. We're kind of on our way out of the bar. And there's a door slightly cracked open. It's this big metal door. It's a little cracked open. And my mom, she's like, what's this? And so she looks around the door to see, what's inside.
Yeah.
And she's like, Gabe, this is a speakeasy. What is a speakeasy? What does that mean? She's like, well, she explains the history of it during Prohibition, right? These bars, they weren't allowed, so they had to be hidden. And this is it harkens back to that time.
Yeah.
So we both take a peek in there, like, wow, this is really cool. And we actually see that the owners are in there. So the owners, and it's not open yet. It's still a little bit under construction, not quite open yet. The owners are in there, and then I guess the director of beverage or somebody in there higher up in their PR team, because they had multiple locations of Whining Pigs. They had a decent crew.
Now, did they all have speakeasies or just this one?
No.
Okay.
In fact, it was a beer only. No spirits,
okay. That's
beer
right.
only, and they had quite a few locations of this beer bar, and they were known for a great selection. It was kind of quaint. It had some funness to it. It had a really fun pig as the logo. There was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Elements to the bar. It was
nice.
I think they may have had 6 or 7 locations around the valley, so quite a few spots. And this was their first dipping their toes into the cocktail world. So we're looking inside, and one of the owners he says, "Hey,
busted.
why don't you guys come in here? What's going on?" So we're like, okay. So we drop inside, and they're like, what are you guys' names? We're this, we're that. This is what we're doing. Excited to show us.
Very cool, yeah.
So we're random people. We don't know them. They don't know us. They're super inviting, super excited just to see some random people that were dining or drinking at their other bar, that were checking out their new place that they were opening. And they invited us in, like, what's the occasion? Like, oh, it's his 21st birthday. Really?
Oh, boy.
Really? So he says, let's make this legal. Why don't you give me a $1 bill, and then you can have anything back here, because they had the liquor wall up there, right? I was like, yeah. So we give him $1, make it legal. We paid for it, right? He's being very generous, and he's excited that this 21-year-old kid's turning 21 at his place.
That's great.
So we actually end up having a few drinks, hanging out for quite a while in this place. So I don't mean to embarrass my mom, but she actually ends up getting a little, I ends up drinking a little bit more than I do.
Pardon me. Overserved, as it were.
I don't want to put anybody on the spot.
Of course not.
We're unofficial situation there, but really fun. And over that time, we get to a certain point in the night, and one of the owners asks what I do. because we're enjoying the conversation, hanging out with them.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm a delivery driver for Domino's. He's like, cool. You want to work for me here? Yeah. He's like, I can't guarantee anything. We'll probably start you in the kitchen. Maybe you can work your way up to bar back. Bartending is a long ways out of a place like this, so he was very clear about that. And I was like, man, this is super cool. Like, I would way rather be here.
Right.
This is a novel experience than, in Domino's. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, great. So he turns to...
let's drink to it.
Yeah, let's drink to it. And he's like, he turns to his, the VP or one of his, high ups in the company. He's like, can you get the paperwork started?
Oh.
So I was like, oh, wow, he's actually serious. A lot of times people say stuff like this. It's actually serious.
Over drinks, especially.
Yeah, it was very serious that night. So I ended up having a job when I woke up the next morning.
That was fruitful.
Yeah, very,
and
very
how did you wake up the next morning?
I actually felt great.
Okay, good.
I realized my mom's a very, very reserved person, usually very controlled. She was having a good time, so I wanted to make sure, hey.
My mother was the same,
Yeah. So this was a very rare occasion where I was like, hey, actually, she's having a great time. I actually am going to stop having some drinks here, and I'll be driving us home later on.
You'll be the responsible one.
Be the responsible one.
There you go.
On my 21st, which I think is hilarious. At the time
funny.
too, I was like, that's really funny. It's my 21st. She's having a great time. I love that.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really, really fun.
Like the hospitality industry as a whole, Nosh Nola owner-operator Hayne Begley's world turned upside down once COVID hit. At the time, he ran a food truck in Little Rock. We talked to him in mid-November, and here's how his business survived COVID.
March 14th, if you would have called me and wanted the food truck, after July 4th, I was booked.
Wow.
5 days a week, 2 events a day.
Oh, no.
I was about to hire a full-time and a part-timer.
Oh, no.
And the next day, the whole world ended.
Yeah.
And then, we luckily, we worked with World Central Kitchen through that. And we're just able to feed Little Rock.
So for those who don't know, tell them what World Central Kitchen is, because it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so World Central Kitchen is a organization started by Chef Jose Andres out of Washington, D.C., and what they do is primarily they go into any sort of disaster area, whether humanitarian disaster or natural disaster, and they set up kitchens that can feed thousands of people. And a lot of them are, restaurant trained, hospitality trained. He's obviously a world-renowned chef.
You bet.
And they go in, and their goal is just to feed people. They did it in the Bahamas after the hurricane flattened that. They did it for the California wildfires.
Yeah.
They've been in, I don't know if they're still in Gaza. I know they were in Gaza. But, I mean, they are apolitical, and they're just like, are people getting food? No, let's go.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter where.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, it's incredible. They'll drop in 40-foot shipping containers that are kitchens out of helicopters, drop them down, drop the sides, and they can, within 3 hours, they're cooking for 4,000 people.
It's
so incredible.
Great. It's so great.
Yeah.
So now what did you do for them?
So they came into Little Rock, and they used the big banquet kitchens at the Clinton Library to make food for the city of Little Rock.
Wow.
So obviously, having the Clinton Library there, it was shut down because it's federal.
Sure.
But the kitchens aren't being used, and they still got to pay people. And so they quarantined and everything we could do for the staff inside, and they would bring in food, and we were serving just off our truck anywhere between 1,000 and 1,500 meals a day.
Woo.
So they would make them and pre-box them.
Yeah.
But then we had storage because we're commercial kitchens. My food truck was.
Yeah.
And so they would give us an address, and we would pull up into a church parking lot or whatever, and people would just cycle through, and they would pull up and tell us how many they had, and we would set the boxes out on the food truck, shut the window. The people would come up, pick it up, go back, when we didn't know everything.
Right.
And then as we, kind of realized more and more about, what was going on and how serious or, that it wasn't going to be as serious as we had initially thought.
Yeah.
We were, it was a little bit more lax, but, sanitizing and just
100%.
Good health code.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're handing out food to people that just weren't going to eat that day because they didn't have anything coming in, and, a lot like
brutal.
A lot like what we're kind of seeing may happen with SNAP benefits right now. So hopefully, but it was such a great time.
Yeah.
Really, really good and great for the food trucks because World Central Kitchen was in a position they could provide us a little stipend. And so we were able to keep paying people through COVID and not just totally shut down.
Outstanding.
So, yeah, it was wonderful.
Giraldi's and Pizza Navona owner David Flores has spent almost his entire life in one way or another working for Giraldi's. Before Giraldi's opened in Fayetteville, it was in Eureka Springs and Berryville. But before it was in Arkansas, it already had a long history.
My father was working at a restaurant at the time in Oregon and met Giraldi out there in Oregon. He was originally from New York.
Okay.
Moved out there, and he had a winery.
Wow.
Yeah, that my dad was working with him a little bit there too. And,
Okay.
the wine business wasn't going so well, so in his little winery shops they set up, they started selling sandwiches to try to make ends meet, and that's how Giraldi's was born.
Interesting.
To try to supplement the wine business.
So where was this in Oregon?
So this was in Grants Pass, Oregon, right outside Grants Pass on the Rogue River.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, around that area. There was a lot of wineries around there.
Sure.
Because it kind of shares a lot of similarities in climate.
The climate, the water table, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the wine business was a struggle. So they had a couple of spots. They had one in Portland, one in Ashland, and one in Grants Pass, these little wine rooms.
Okay.
And they started selling sandwiches, put a couple sandwiches bars in there, and just that's how it started. They started doing well with that, and eventually started adding stuff to the menu, pastas, and didn't start doing pizzas for a while.
Okay.
Added those on later, and it kind of just grew organically. It was doing well, so let's add this. Let's do this more, and then eventually he got rid of the winery.
Became popular.
Yeah, and so he moved up to Portland. Was running those up there, and I was just a kid in Grants Pass, and my dad had Giraldi's in Grants Pass. So that's where I started, just rolling meatballs as a little kid, standing on a chair, and doing all that stuff.
That's great.
Washing dishes, and that's how I got started.
Cool.
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
I've been doing it a lot longer than I thought I would be doing it.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
But
and I'm sure you probably didn't think you'd be doing it in Arkansas.
Never. No, I didn't. Growing up on the West Coast, didn't even really understand what Arkansas was. You just hear Arkansas and think it's one thing, but roundabout way, he ended up. Mr. Giraldi moved to Florida.
Okay.
And had a Giraldi's in Inglewood.
Okay.
In Venice. My dad moved out there. We had some landlord issues in Oregon, where we ended up losing that restaurant.
Okay.
Went down to Florida, bought one of the Giraldi's from Mr. Giraldi.
Okay.
There, and I ended up doing it with him. Kind of like just ended up happening to do it with my dad, and
sure,
that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, working with your dad's always tough. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a good experience though. Small little restaurant, about 500-600 square feet. We didn't have any seating inside.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple big deck ovens and had a little patio outside, but it was really close to the water, so it was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was.
Really
it was
cool.
fun to do.
Corey Stanton of Baked by Corey in both downtown Rogers and downtown Fayetteville loved to bake with her mom as a kid. Here she tells us how she got into baking professionally when she lived in New York City.
So while I was working before kids, I was the office baker. I don't
Always
know.
happens.
One day I'd make something and my husband's like, we can't eat all this. So he's like, get this out of the apartment. Right. So I would take it to work.
Yeah.
And then after I had kids, I was a stay-at-home mom. I have a daughter and a son who are now 19 and 22. But once they started school, I was the PTA mom baker.
Okay.
Any fundraiser or teacher night or
gosh.
whatever, anything that needed baked goods, I'd be the first one to say, I'll do it.
Nice.
So I did that, and then everyone kept saying, you have got to stop giving this away. You have to start charging for this. And I was like, well, how do I do that? I didn't know the first thing about owning a business in New York City, let alone a food business.
Right.
So my husband and I talked about it, and I kind of knew somebody who knew a real estate person who knew of this place that might be available, and it was a commercial building, and my landlord owned the building, and he made in that building the pizza delivery bags
Okay.
seen those.
Yeah.
That was the building that my first bakery was in.
No
it was
kidding.
Wholesale and online, no storefront. But,
Okay.
I had that for a little over a year, probably.
So, now correct me if I'm wrong, but you got to build out a professional kitchen,
Yeah,
no?
I did. It was literally an interior room of the building that had a 3-compartment sink already. So that was very lucky.
Yeah.
And the building was obviously wired for a lot of powerful ovens.
Yeah,
Just anything. So, and it was zoned to be a food production. So
Amazing.
it all kind of just lined up.
Man, it's all who you know, right?
Yeah.
Especially there.
Yes.
Mockingbird Kitchen will be celebrating its 10th anniversary in 2026. Not many people knew about the place back in the day when Chef Christy Sanderson and Lee Helm opened in 2016. Establishing the brand took time.
So, I mean, no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
You know, you're in this shopping center, which wasn't in the best condition back. I don't know if you were familiar with Evelyn Hills back
Sure.
at the time.
Yeah.
But, so...
Nobody's going to drive by and see you.
Yeah.
It's a fair point, yeah.
Tucked away in the corner. Fortunately, we're very lucky to be right next to Arcadia. So
Yeah.
Shay's awesome, and he, is
What a
always
fun
talking
place.
about us,
Yeah,
and
that's great.
telling people to come and try us. So that was awesome.
Very cool.
But yeah, we just had to use social media.
We did a lot of events.
Yeah, did a lot of
Chefs
in the Garden.
and
great, yeah.
Soup Sunday.
Soup Sundays
we
and things like that.
different events. We would show up and hand out our
Smart.
cards and
Yeah.
try to
Yeah.
do that. We got our website up. We started posting like twice a day because both of us were posting on social medias and. Fortunately, we had a lot of friends.
Yeah. Well, she had people from JB Hunt that
Sure.
wanted to come and try the place out.
That's great.
I had people from NWAC. I had, people that knew me from Bordino's back in the day. So we used, and just our group of friends were very supportive over the first,
great.
they still are, but really the important first 5 years.
Oh, God,
couldn't have done them without them.
Yeah. Allie K. Hammer Cameron started Bloom Cheese Collective this past summer. She is a certified cheese professional, and here's what got her into cheese.
I decided I wasn't going anywhere with the animal hospital gig, which was fine. It was fun, but I was like, I got to do something. So I had decided to work. I got a job as a legal assistant, which I was not very good at. But I still did it, and it got me back to Dallas. At that point, I was still in Denton. So I moved back to Dallas, got a job as a legal assistant, and I had moved into this little apartment off of Oaklawn and Lemon.
Yes, I used to work right there.
Okay, so that is where Scardello Cheese is, their very first location. So I moved into an apartment right behind Scardello, and I didn't know, I walked by one day and was like, shop for cheese, that's so weird. And I was just like, I don't know, whatever, cheese shop. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And one day I went in, and I was like, this is magical. I had never.
It was Disneyland, for a kid, right?
Well, my dad and I grew up always eating cheese. I would go to the grocery store with him back when people went to the grocery store.
Sure, yeah.
And we would go together, and he loved cheese, and so he would take me to the cheese aisle.
Cheese section, yeah.
And we would always pick out the Gruyere and, whatever other little fun, funky thing we could find.
Sure.
And we would sit and eat it together.
So the inspiration of the cheese comes from Dad.
Yes.
Okay.
Comes from Dad.
Awesome.
And that was our thing,
Yeah.
and it was
That's cool.
usually when I'd been behaving, which wasn't often, but that was it.
Yeah.
And so that comes way back from Dad.
Okay, so you have the magical shop.
The magical shop. So I was in there, and they had classes.
Okay.
And a lot of my very best, most fondest cheese memories come from Scardello.
Okay.
And it to this day, my favorite job I ever have. I think I have dreams. I had
That's
Scardello
right over there
exists
by
in my dreams.
Yeah, right over there by River Shawn Park, right?
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when I was getting ready to open this place, a lot of it was kind of based on some of my
The inspiration.
and best cheese memories from Scardello. So
Wow.
which to this day, Rich is a good friend of mine, and I called him and I was like, I might be crazy, but this is what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah.
And he was like, how can I help? I am here,
the best.
for any questions you've got. I mean, that's cheese people for you, though.
Man, yes. I've noticed.
Cheese people stick together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a community. I've been working in cheese for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
And a lot
Okay.
of, almost all the people I've come across along the way, we still keep in touch.
It's great.
And it's like no time's gone by. It's like I haven't talked to you in 5 years, and I see you, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just, that's kind of how it is in the cheese world.
That's amazing.
But anyway, so I started going in there all the time, and I was probably what they considered a cheese groupie,
Oh.
They were like, here's this girl again.
Yeah.
And one day I was like, I really want to work here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be brave. And they were like, well, a lot of people say that.
Right.
But luckily enough, they hired me on. They needed a Saturday person because
Okay.
Saturdays are always the busiest day.
Sure.
And so they hired me on to work Saturdays and then class nights. And it was the beginning.
Archie's Sandwichery owner Kevin Gherkins moved up to Austin to help start the Meteor Cafe in Bentonville. From there, he worked with the group starting up Bentoville, and that gave him the confidence to start what is now Archie's.
To me, there was very much lacking a need for a sandwich shop.
Great.
And something that was counter service, something that was fast but also healthy, and has the ability to grow with the community here. So that's been a major linchpin, if you will, of my entire concept or model.
Sure.
Is that one store is wonderful, I love it, but if I have to be here all the time, there's no point in doing it.
Understood.
So growing with the community, though, having multiple locations across this area is very important to me, and I think could be one of the ways that you see other businesses, such as Wright's or Onyx, or that you can count them off. But there's other restaurants that have done an amazing job of growing with the community and figuring out ways to support the want as well as the needs, whether it be nonprofit events or whatever.
Sure.
But I think we can do that in a very low-touch service model. Yeah. And I always like to joke that Archie's is a kind of an anti-chef business.
Oh.
I'm not a chef by trade nor background, and I think that most of what we do is prep and assembly.
Yeah.
We don't have a vent hood, we don't have a flat top, we don't have a gas line.
Yeah.
We do our best with fresh ingredients and bringing them in an eclectic or great combination together so that you have an amazing product. But
I feel like we're using the word unique a lot.
Yeah, we try.
Yeah, at least in this show, for sure.
And I think events like what we're trying to do tomorrow with the pop-up are fun. We get to exercise our muscles a little bit, but for the most part, a day-to-day operation, there's not a real chef in place, right? So I really don't mean that in a negative way at all, but part of the ability for growth is creating great SOPs that don't need a singular person in charge and babysitting or being there for the menu.
And that'll do it as we wrap up 2025 and look ahead to 2026. Thank you guys for finding us, following us, liking us, and just generally being on board. It's going to be an exciting new year with some new things coming in the pipeline, and I can't wait. When you go out for New Year's Eve, by the way, please tip your servers as they're having to work the holiday, and we'll see you in 2026. Happy New Year.